Now, it's our time again. Here we go.
To be a Steeler is to consider others before you consider yourself. To protect your brother, even from himself. To give support at your own expense. And when wearing the black and gold suit of armor, and make sure nobody desecrates it, disrespects it. Most importantly, we ourselves don't dishonor it. From previous legends who have donned the black and gold. These virtues I learned while playing for the Steelers are what make the legacy of the black and gold timeless. They are passed down in the locker room from the steel curtain to anyone who valiantly wears the black and gold. Creating a brotherhood that is deeper than money, business, and winning. To be a Steeler is to consider others before you consider yourself. This is our culture, Steeler culture.
Now, here are your hosts, Rob and Dan, the Steel Twins.
Oh boy, Steeler Nation, what is going on? Thank you guys so very much for joining us on this Monday afternoon for yet another edition of the Steeler Culture Podcast, where we break down Pittsburgh Steelers football. And Steeler Nation, it is finally that time of the week. It is finally that time of the offseason, the most exciting time of the NFL offseason, and that is draft week, man. One of my most anticipated and most exciting times of the entire offseason. It is finally here, and we're here to kick off talking about specifically on the offensive side of the ball, prospects that the Steelers have looked at, have brought in for top 30 visits, have interest in, and other honorable mentions that they could look at to bolster the offense, because the offensive side of the ball, as we have unfortunately have witnessed, is not good, and the offense for sure needs some bolstering.
It does need a lot of bolstering. Ladies and gentlemen, Steelers Nation, happy draft week. It is Monday. We are 3 days away from the NFL draft, night one of the NFL draft, which you guys know will be live for night one and night two. Cannot wait. Like Rob stated, some of our most exciting, probably the most exciting time of the offseason, or even the entire football calendar, because it's just, you don't know what's going to happen that day. All mock drafts go out the window. All the stat sheets, all the, rankings go out the door, and it's just, what are these teams going to do? Who are the Steelers going to draft? Are they going to trade up? Could they trade back? Could a guy like Shedeur Sanders fall? Could they go offense in the first round? Where are they going to go? Could they go D-line? We're going to discuss all that throughout the entire draft week starting today. We're going to discuss the offensive side of the ball for the draft regarding their top 30 visits and some other positions, some other players that they could entertain for certain rounds and where they might select certain positions. Tomorrow, we'll be live again around the same time discussing the defensive side of the football, specifically defensive line, corner, safety, who they brought in, positions like that. And then Wednesday, we'll be live Wednesday night discussing the final first round discussion of every option possible, the top 30 visits, anyone that they could select in the first round. We're going to discuss all that. That does include the quarterback position, the defensive line position, maybe even running back. I don't want to throw anything out the window because they could literally go anywhere.
And I don't think you can. I mean, the Steelers have done their due diligence. They have done their research. They have done their scouting, and they have scaled basically every platform on who they could potentially take at pick 21 or what they could potentially do with pick 21.
Yeah, they've scorched the earth for every reasonable option for the team right now, which I love because it's so unpredictable and they can go any direction. And they're keeping all options on the table in regards to who they could take at 21 or who they could use as potentially trade back capital. You never know, man.
That's the exciting part about the draft, bro. That's the exciting part leading up to the NFL draft.
It is. So we want to thank you guys for joining us today and the next couple days for all week live draft content. We'll be live all week discussing the draft from today all the way through Saturday, discussing everything NFL draft, everything Steelers draft related. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in today. And yeah, it's draft week. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had a great Easter holiday if you guys celebrated. I know I did. I ate too much. I ate too much, and I don't know how I was able to stay awake for Mania.
Now, listen, you ain't the only one. I mean, I was able to get a small cat nap in, literally right here in the studio because I was that tired.
I didn't. I just popped in an energy drink and said, send
I'll
it.
tell you, I think after the Cena match, you wanted to go to sleep.
I did go to sleep.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointing.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had a great Easter holiday. Now, all that's behind us, so we can all focus on the NFL draft. There was a poll in the chat for Yins. What should be the first offensive position the Steelers draft? Not who they should take in the first round, or maybe who they should take in the first round, but what should be the first offensive position the Steelers draft? Is that quarterback, running back, receiver, or O-line? I see a lot of people saying the Steelers should still address O-line. They're not going to go O-line early. I'm telling you that right now.
Nor should they. I'm just going to throw it out there. They shouldn't. I understand why people think that way.
I don't discourage the idea.
I understand why they think so, but my mind and what I'm thinking is that they already have their starters fulfilled.
They do, and they haven't brought in anyone of serious contention early on for visits, or there's not really anyone that they've really shown interest in or talked to.
No, as far as the offensive line goes, for the first time in quite a number of years, actually.
Right. So I'm thinking if they're going to go offense in their first pick, wherever in the draft is going to be offense, it's going to be either quarterback, running back, or wide receiver.
Yeah.
I'm on the side of thinking it's going to be running back, but I could be very well wrong. They could go quarterback in the first round. They could go receiver in the first or second or third round if they trade back and get a second round pick.
Right.
Everything's open, man. Everything's open. We're going to start with the quarterback position first and foremost because that's really starting to gain some steam. That's really starting to gain some popularity. Could quarterback be the first pick in the first round? And to a lot of Steelers Nation, that should be the pick in the first round because we don't have a starter. We don't. Mason Rudolph could be the starter, but, at the same time, that's not everyone's cup of tea. That's not everyone's preferred method. You guys already know where we stand on the quarterback position for the entirety of the 2025 season. Regardless, it was going to be a bridge.
Yep.
That might not be the case now if they draft a quarterback in the first round and they're trying to grab their future, whether that be Sanders, whether that be Dart. Those are the only two first round, those are the only two guys that are getting first round talks that the Steelers could draft in the first round.
Yeah,
I wouldn't take a quarterback in the first round. I wouldn't take Dart in the first round. Absolutely not.
No. I have a second round grade at Dart. I see the potential there. I see the arm talent there. I just don't have a first round grade on him. Sanders, I can see the first round talks. I can see the first round grade. I just don't see a day one starter at the moment.
See, I see a day one starter. I don't see a first round pick. Dart,
so you don't see a first round pick?
I don't see a first round pick in Sanders, but I see a day one starter. With Dart, he's going to have to sit.
See, with Sanders, I have to disagree about the day one start.
I think he's day one starter.
See, the reason I feel that, because I do want to talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
The reason I feel that way is because I feel like his dropbacks are a little too far. I feel like that does bring some concern to the NFL level and with some pass rushers, especially when it comes to wherever he gets selected and how his offensive line is going to hold up. The fact that he holds on to the ball too long, I think that's a huge negative. You don't want your quarterback holding on to the ball as long as he really should.
See, I think that's very coachable within the month leading up to NFL action.
And I was going to get to that part. Both those things are coachable. Another thing that's coachable is his lack of skating the field. I feel like he's for the most part, a one-read type of quarterback. When he takes a snap, he's got the ball in his hands. He's looking at one target the majority of the time.
See,
That's coachable. That's coachable, but from the tape that I've seen, you may have seen different tape, but from the tape that I've seen, the majority of the time, he's really just looking at one target. I feel like that's a huge negative for Sanders in his style. I feel like that's something that he's going to have to work on.
That's fair. I mean, I think Sanders is a day one starter. That's just me.
Listen, that's your opinion.
But I don't see him being a first. I don't have a first round grade on him, but he's not going to not be drafted in the first round.
He will definitely for sure be a first round talent based off his talent, his arm talent, and of course.
Well, what I'm saying is he's going to go in the first round. I might have a second round grade on him, but that doesn't mean he's going to wait till the second round. That's not happening. And same thing with Dart. It's just teams over-evaluate the quarterback position, and some of these teams need quarterbacks, and they want to take him, and maybe they don't think he'll be there at a certain spot day 2, and they don't want to trade up and trade the capital for him, so they take him as early as they do.
It happens, man.
And I think that's going to be the case for Sanders and Dart. Regarding the Steelers, I want to take Dart in the first round. I think that's Kenny Pickett all over again. I don't compare Dart to Kenny, the quarterback, because they're two different quarterbacks. I think Dart has superior arm talent compared to Kenny. I think he processes the field a little bit better than Kenny. I think he's not afraid to throw the ball compared to Kenny. But in terms of selecting Dart in the first round and running to the podium and hoping you can get a guy like that, that's the Steelers repeating the Kenny Pickett process all over again.
Yeah, that's very reminiscent.
Don't rush, especially when Dart, as much as I think he can be a very solid starter in the league, and I think he has a pretty good ceiling, he's not day one starter ready. He's not.
Yeah.
He's got to learn to play under center. He had issues playing under center at the Senior Bowl, fumble issues, as a matter of fact, and he's got to learn an NFL offense.
Yeah. And listen, despite our different opinions on Dart and Sanders and how, where they're going to be selected or how we feel about them being NFL ready and whatnot, there's no doubt about that. Me and you, of course, have agreed that quarterback should not be the pick, at least within the first 2 days.
We've stood on that hill. We've planted the sword and the stone on that, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
And we're not
so deep that you can't pull it out. It's literally stuck in there.
Right.
That's how much that we are, planting our flag on that statement. And we still feel that way leading into the NFL draft on Thursday.
Yes.
Now, listen, yes, we need a quarterback. There's no doubt about it. When your quarterback room is Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson, yes, you need a quarterback.
But patience is a virtue. And the Steelers need to be very patient about the quarterback position because they rushed it last time, and they're in the same situation they were 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So let's be patient about the quarterback position. Now, if Sanders falls, I 100% believe he will be the pick because how can Mike Tomlin not take Sanders? It wouldn't be my first choice. I wouldn't entirely agree with it, but I wouldn't full out hate it. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't. It's just not my preferred method for this year. It's not.
Yeah.
Because the Steelers have only 2 picks in the first 2 days. You're telling me you're going to wait till the third round to get somebody at the defensive line position? And then you're going to push back running back and maybe receiver or corner?
Yeah.
Depending on whatever they do in the first round?
Yeah, I don't know if they can really be... I don't think they should do that. I don't know, honestly, if they can afford to do that. Though running back and defensive line is pretty stacked still. Like the fact that you're going to take a quarterback just because you need one. Just because you need a quarterback doesn't mean that you have to take a quarterback early, especially in a class where this whole draft class is particularly weak in many people's opinions, including ours.
Yeah, the quarterback class is very reminiscent of 2022. Just
because you need one doesn't mean that you should take one.
Yeah.
That's just being desperate. That's like being the Browns completely.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to be in that boat.
And with Sanders, I think he'll be a quality starter in the league. I've always said that his biggest issue and my biggest issue with him is his ceiling. Is he going to be an elite playmaker? Is he going to be the quarterback that's going to change the landscape? Is he going to be a quarterback that's going to be an elite status along with the Burrows and the Allens and the Mahomes and the Jacksons? I don't see it. I don't see elite tendencies when I watch him. I think he'll be very, very solid. I think he'll have the ceiling of like a Goff or middle range, maybe like another Geno Smith. But that's about it.
Yeah.
I don't see him being, taking a team and elevating them to a greater status. Thus, again, I wouldn't mind the selection. I just don't think he does anything greater for us.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be a solid quarterback and keep us where we've been. But that's about it, in my opinion. Maybe he can prove me wrong if he's the pick. But the problem with Sanders, he's got to fall all the way to 21. And as the days creep up and as we get closer and closer and closer, I think the likelihood is starting to gain some steam, gain some momentum, because the Saints need a lot. They need everything, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Are they going to select a quarterback when they need now a right tackle since Ramczyk retired?
Yep.
Are they going to need a quarterback when they need defensive line, when they need O-line, they need whatever else? They need literally everything. Like, they need that entire team scrapped. Kellen Moore has his hands full in trying to scrap and rebuild that team. And they don't have the best cap situation. So are they going to want to put a quarterback in that situation when they themselves are in a rebuild phase? You're going to add a quarterback to that situation?
See, I don't know what Kellen Moore is thinking. You know, I'm not a Saints fan, of course. I don't know what the Saints front office could be thinking. It could be a situation where Moore wants to start off as, you know, his first stint as a head coach. He wants to start off with a quarterback selection due to Derek Carr's situation, not just with the injury, but the cap number. I think his cap number next year is like over $60 million or something like that.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely. Like the Saints, I don't know what they're doing business-wise or at the quarterback position, but maybe Moore's trying to change it up a bit. Maybe he wants to start off with a quarterback selection to have a quarterback lead, you know, the team, the way down for the Saints. I have no idea.
Right.
But, I mean, after the retirement of Ramczyk, does tackle fall for the Saints at number 9?
Potentially. You also got to think, does he get past the Giants? They just had a private workout with him just a couple days ago.
That they did.
So do the Giants take a guy like Shedeur Sanders? I know they got Russ and Jameis, but do they take Sanders if he's there at 3? Or who's to say that he makes it past the Giants or the Saints at 9, and the team doesn't trade back up and get Sanders since he's still there?
That's a huge possibility. I mean, you know, that spread between 9 and 21, you know, it's a pretty decent spread in the first round. A team could for sure trade up and want to get a guy like Sanders with his pedigree and whatnot.
Right.
You know, take a chance on that. It's a huge possibility when it comes to the draft. I really have no idea. I don't know what's going to go down come draft day. I really don't know what's going to go down after the Giants and Browns selection. I don't know what their process is. I don't know what their mindset is at those selections, because either of those teams could take Sanders straight up. They could, but I don't know if they do. And then with the Saints, I feel like at number 9, if Sanders is there, it really depends on exactly where the Saints go. What's their direction? Where are they going to go? And then after that, it's just like, okay, hold on a minute. Maybe we're all going to be on the Sanders watch. Right?
Yeah, or like I said, could a team trade up since they make it past the Sanders? Could a team trade back up, like the Browns or the Giants maybe, for example? Could they trade back up into the first to get a guy like Sanders? Or is there a dark horse team that could take Sanders after he falls past the Saints, if he falls past the Saints? Maybe the Colts. They're not riding with, I mean, they're riding with Richardson and Jones, but obviously they're not the future there. They're not. You have a lot to work with Anthony Richardson, and Daniel Jones is a mess.
Yes, from an outsider point of view, but from them, they could think differently, but that would be their own fault.
Right.
That would be their own doing to go with that. Maybe they want to. I have no idea.
I have no idea what the Colts are going to do, but I'm going to throw that out there because obviously they're going to need a quarterback. Richardson and Daniels just ain't it. No. If you go into the season with those two as a quarterback room and thinking that, hey, these guys are going to elevate this team, good luck.
And I thought Kenny Pickett and Mr. Trubisky were bad.
It's not gonna work that way. It's not. You might as well wash your season away. And maybe that's their plan. I have no clue. Maybe they're playing the tank. I don't know what the Colts are doing, but I'm gonna throw the name out there. But if Shedeur Sanders makes it past the Saints, the likelihood is there that he could fall to 21. And again, if he falls there, I think he's the pick. It's not my preferred method. I'm not going to be overly excited. I see a lot of people getting their hopes up for it and being crazy about it. And, you know, that's their opinion. They have the right to feel that way.
Well, listen,
I just can't get overly excited about taking a quarterback right now when we need other needs. Yeah. And I don't think a quarterback right now elevates this team any greater. Not yet. Not when we have so many other needs to address, and not when the coaching is still very questionable.
Yeah, and I'm in that same boat with you. I understand why teams may be, fans may be getting their hopes up. I mean, you know, when it comes to the draft, you know, fan bases have, you know, a draft crush or whatnot. It happens every year. They have a player they love, you know, they think so highly about and they really want him, you know. But I've learned over the years, not just with the Steelers through football season, but throughout the draft, not to get my hopes up and just to kind of have my options open for any player in any direction at any position.
Yeah, because with Omar Khan, you don't know what to expect. With Kevin Colbert, it was pretty predictable. This year, I don't know. I can't tell you, bro.
They scaled the whole platform. They scaled everywhere.
Right.
So But I do have to agree. I feel like if Sanders is there, he will be at 21.
I'll say this about Sanders. I wouldn't trade up for him.
No, you're not doing
I
that.
don't think Sanders is worth trading. If the Steelers want Sanders, I wouldn't trade up for him.
No, you're not trading up for Sanders. You're not giving up future capital for Shedeur.
Now, they have capital that they're going to get next year on comp picks to fall back on. And that's their safety blanket, but I'm still not doing that.
Just because it's your safety blanket doesn't mean that you should do it.
I'm not trading up for Sanders.
Just because you need the quarterback. To me, it's not worth it.
If he falls to 21, cool. I'll accept it, but I'm not trading up for him.
But if he's there at 21, I don't see how he's not to pick.
That's what I'm saying. I agree. I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's not my first choice. I'd much prefer D-line because we have no one opposite Hayward and Ben, and we have no one to really plan ahead for life after Hayward. And I feel like the Steelers have a prime opportunity to do that this year.
Yeah.
Will they do it? Is that their preferred choice? Nobody knows. We're going to find out on Thursday night. It's going to be a very interesting night on Thursday, man. I honestly can't wait, and I'm sure that Sanders watch is going to be on full throttle.
Yes, it is. Not just that, but Jackson Dart and those two names have, of course, been brought in for top 30 visits for the Steelers.
They have. I want to get into the chat real quick and see what they're saying, man. Jacob Frederick, who's an STM member, appreciate you, says, yo, Steel, you guys want the Bama quarterback. No, I don't want Jalen Noel. No, I don't.
I'm good.
No, thank you.
I'm good.
He's a great value, Justin Fields. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Though the interest by the Steelers, though they did not bring in Milroe for a top 30 visit, they did have a pro day dinner with him after being there for his pro day.
And they sent the house to his pro day.
Yes, they did.
And they did the same thing for Will Howard. I could have sworn I could have bet a decent amount that Will Howard was going to be brought in for a top 30 visit, and he wasn't. But
we thought the same thing about Jalen Milroe.
yeah,
They didn't do that.
but perhaps because they sent the house to their pro day, they've seen them in person, and they brought him out for pro day dinners. That's all they needed to do, and they want to use those two pro day visit spots for other talent, such as running back or D-line or even safety, corner who they brought in.
Yes, that's true.
So,
But they've only brought in 4 quarterbacks for top 30 visits. That was Sanders and Dart, like I mentioned. They also brought in a Tyler Shook out of Louisville. Will be 26 by the time football season comes about. So he's definitely on the older side for his position.
right.
And Kyle McCord out of Syracuse, the former Ohio State quarterback
Yes.
that transferred to Syracuse and actually broke a record.
Only 4 quarterbacks, and you're looking at either 2 guys in the first round, or you're looking at guys preferably day 3.
Day 3 options.
Maybe they get one of those guys round 3, but I'm preferring day 3 to be a quarterback pick. Anywhere is fine with me.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Shuck makes it out of day 2. I don't know if Will Howard makes it out of day 2. They could. I'd hope they would, in regard to the Steelers' interest and where I would prefer them to take a quarterback. But time will tell. But yeah, only 4 quarterbacks they brought in for top 30 visits.
Yeah.
Not to include, again, Will Howard, who they sent the house to his pro day, took him out for pro day dinner. Same thing for Jalen Milroe. And they sent the house to Quinn Ewers' pro day. Or I think they sent Tomlin and Khan to Quinn Ewers' pro day in Texas. And they had him for a pro day dinner. So they didn't bring him in for a top 30 visit, probably for the same reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And one other quarterback I'll mention that they sent the house to their pro day was Riley Leonard.
Out of Notre Dame, yeah.
They didn't have a pro day dinner with him, but they sent the house to his pro day. No thank you on Leonard. Just going to put it out there as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, I see Leonard as Tim Tebow. That might just be my opinion, but
Daniel Jones.
or that too. I mean, either comp's not good.
No.
No,
it's not.
he uses his legs more than his arm. He's a very inconsistent passer. They probably sent the house to Notre Dame not just to get a glimpse of Leonard, but for sure the other talent around the Notre Dame team.
There's a ton of talent on that defense, too.
Yeah.
Ton of talent.
So
That defense
no
is
disrespect to Leonard, but I think they were looking at that talent more so than Riley.
most likely. I mean, come on. Notre Dame was in the finals, so why wouldn't they send the house to their pro day?
Yeah.
With all that talent
It
coming
just
out of
makes
school?
sense.
Yeah. Let's see. Alex E in the chat says Sanders got elite accuracy, decent arm, and can command a room. Will be a good quarterback. Wouldn't be disappointed with the pick, but think next year is the move. And that's where I'm at. I'm not taking anything away from Shedeur Sanders. I think he is great with accuracy. It's the biggest thing that everyone praises him for is his accuracy. He throws with anticipation. He stands strong in the pocket. He'll take a hit while still hitting his receiver in stride. Those are the things I like about him. He has good pocket presence. I just don't see elite tendencies. I don't see elite traits with him.
No.
He went to Colorado and elevated him to a good degree for sure, along with his dad as head coach. And he had Travis Hunter at wide receiver, Jimmy Horn at wide receiver, Webster at wide receiver.
Right.
He had virtually no run game. He had virtually no O-line. So I'll give Sanders props on that.
Yeah, and Sanders was able to produce quite well, honestly, with everything surrounding him. So there's no doubt Sanders carries some talent traits. He carries something to the game.
Yeah, he'll be a good quarterback. I just don't think he's going to elevate a team or the Steelers in this sense to where we need to challenge all the other elite quarterbacks. I don't think he has that in him. My biggest issue with Sanders, which is why I wouldn't trade up for him, and I wouldn't hate it because I think he'll be good. It's just he's not what we need.
No, but Tomlin will, of course, think otherwise, and of course, Tomlin's all about the bloodlines and the fact that, hey, you know, that's Deion Sanders' son of all people,
And he loves the bloodlines, yeah, like you said.
So, like, if he's there for sure, Tomlin's not going to say no to a guy like that.
No.
It's not hard to see why, but at the same time, it's like, what can you get out of Sanders as a head coach? A head coach that doesn't have a great track record after Big Ben, by the way.
Right.
What can you get out of Sanders under your coaching staff? That's the question.
Right. Digital Dust says, I feel like Steelers will trade back and take Milroe somehow. Yeah, maybe in the 5th round.
If it's a day 3 pick by Milroe, if he's still there, I'm not going to be opposed.
In the 5th round, sure.
I'm not going to be. If it's anything higher than that, absolutely not.
No.
We're not doing that.
No, we're not taking him day 2. That's all I'll say about it. He's a day 3 quarterback. There's a lot wrong with him. There's a lot to work with.
I love his athleticism, but I don't love his arm talent.
He's not a good quarterback.
No.
There's a lot
Way
to work
too
with.
raw.
But
Way too raw.
If they want to take him in like the 5th round and bring him in for rundowns like he did with like they did with Justin Fields, by all means, because that's where he's good at. He's a hell of an athlete. He's a hell of a runner. Don't ask him to throw the ball on a consistent basis.
No.
Not for at least the first 2 years of his NFL career.
No, he's definitely going to have to sit for quite a couple years, if anything.
What they say about Shedeur on ESPN and scouting reports don't match the tape. Bottom 8 starter, he'd be lucky to be Geno, says Justin Watson. I feel you on that. I do. Sanders will probably go to Saints. Dome helps. Yeah, I know everyone's saying, well, he'll probably go to a dome. He can play in cold weather because, you know, Colorado is not really the warmest area.
No.
He's used to playing outdoors. But, yeah, the dome will definitely help him and where he's really good at. Sanders in a dome could survive. Will always be a bottom 16 quarterback. Alex D says, you guys got any favorites at the running back position? My guy this year is R.J. Harvey. Him and Warren would be cool. I really like Harvey. He could sneak his way to late day 2, so if the Steelers want to take him like round 3 for sure, that's a great option. If they want to wait to round 4, I think that's good value for him. He's a hell of a bell cow. He's got great production. His last couple years, he's strong, he's fast, receiving upside.
Yeah.
He's got 3-down potential. My only issue with him, at the running back position, he's a little older. And he did have a lot of carries the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's right.
But otherwise, yeah, I like R.J. Harvey. I do. There's a ton of running backs that the Steelers can take between rounds 2. I know they don't have a second round pick, but rounds 2 and 4 that I think would be quality guys that they could build up and maybe lead the backfield for the next couple of years.
And it's funny you mentioned that because looking at the top 30 visit list here, they have brought in 9 running backs. 9.
Wow.
Going down the list right here, we are starting with DJ Giddens out of Kansas State. He's a man that's been in quite a couple mocks of ours. He's one of our favorites.
Love
when it
DJ
comes to
Giddens.
day 3.
Love DJ Giddens.
You're looking at first-round talent, Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina. You're looking at Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee. You're looking at, how do you pronounce this dude's first name? I think you have a better chance than I do.
Bishal Tootin out of
Tootin.
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech. Tomlin loves Virginia Tech Cats.
Shout out to Terrell Evans.
Yes, of course.
Fan favorite.
Yep. Ollie Gordon II out of Oklahoma State. Jayden Blue out of Texas. He's a very, very speedy back with a lot of upside, especially receiving
A lot
upside.
of receiving upside, yeah.
Kaleb Jonson out of Iowa.
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
That might require a trade back scenario.
And again, and there's a lot of running backs I love, and Johnson's in that category. He's a hell of a back.
That's why you put him in the thumbnail.
Yes, I did, of course. R.J. Harvey, of course, as you mentioned right there out of UCF.
And
Very good back.
and probably my favorite, like to answer Alex D's question, my favorite.
And I'm right in the same boat with you. This is my favorite. Treveyon Henderson out of Ohio State.
Don't forget the V,
State.
Robert.
Yes, sorry, still Jedi, my bad.
The Ohio State. Yeah, that's my favorite back. That too might require a trade back scenario. Or could they take him in the first round? And yes, I'm being literally honest with you. There are 2 running backs that they brought in for top 30 visits that could be in contention for first round talks. One is Omarion Hampton, if he's even going to be there. I know the Bears need a running back. The Broncos need a running back.
The Raiders.
The Raiders need a running back. So perhaps Hampton doesn't last. Well, they could fall back on a guy like Treveyon Henderson. I wouldn't, because as much as I like Henderson, I think his injury concerns take him out of the first round. I just wouldn't take him in the first, especially at 21. If they want to trade back and get him later, then it's a little more digestible. It's a little more acceptable.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate that entirely. But in the first round, I'm not huge on taking Henderson in the first. If they want to trade back and he's there in the second, say they get a second back, you run to the podium if he's there, because that's your future lead back as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah.
This guy is a 3-down baller.
Yeah, let's say, hypothetically speaking, they were to trade with the Bills, Chiefs, or the Eagles even, right? 30, 31, or 32. They want to trade back. They could take Henderson, and the only way I see how that happens is, one, if Sanders is not there at 21.
And
if Derek Harmon is not there at 21.
agreed.
Now, if Derek Harmon and Sanders are both there at 21, I think Sanders is the guy. If Sanders is not there, but Harmon is there, I think Harmon is the heavy favorite at 21.
Agreed.
If both are gone and they decide to trade back, I could see Henderson being the pick in the later first round.
Well, you consider everyone that they've looked at, the top 30 visits, the pro days they've attended to, the combine interviews, he checks all the boxes. In fact, I think he's the only one that checks all the boxes.
Yes, every single one.
Now, previously, in so many drafts, the Steelers would select their guy based on all those traits. Last year was an exception of Troy Fautano. But prior to all that, pretty much every single draft for over a decade before that, their traits for drafting a guy had to be combine interview, pro day visit, and a top 30 visit. Henderson checks all the boxes. So I don't want to rule him out in the first. I wouldn't like it in the first unless they trade back.
I wouldn't take him 21.
But if you trade back and get him in the second, that's even better, because I think that's where the value is.
That's what I'm accepting with.
And then in the first round, you can still address whatever need you want to.
Yeah, and it's not hard to see why the Steelers would love Henderson. And I know he carries some injury concerns as he dealt with a plethora of ankle injuries throughout his time at the Ohio State. But, I mean, when he's healthy and he's on the field and he just plays, he just stands out, man.
Well, what he did in his freshman year, being a 5-star recruit, was unbelievable. Then his, 2 years following, he dealt with injuries, and then last year splitting with Quinshon Judkins, unbelievable running tandem.
And that's what you said, splitting with Judkins.
He has no problem.
No, he has zero issue, zero problem, and he's got, the track record of splitting carries, and that's what, of course, that would happen in Pittsburgh with Arthur Smith as the OC.
Right.
That's been the case for many years now, but it happened very evidently with Arthur Smith in his first year, with Najee Warren and even Patterson.
Right.
So, but Henderson, he checks out all the boxes, not just off the interest by the Steelers, but everything that you want in a running back. Speed, elusiveness, physicality, blocking capabilities, receiving upside, touchdown machine.
He's got that burst. He's got that long speed.
He's got it all, dude.
That's my favorite back of this entire draft class. He's my number 3 back overall, in my opinion. And there's a lot of really good backs in this class.
A lot.
So when he's fully healthy, this guy, man, I love JK coming out of Ohio State. I think he could be even better than JK. And JK was really good coming out of the Ohio State.
Yeah, he was.
He's faster than JK. They both have similar injury concerns, but he's just more of a complete back compared to JK.
Yeah.
Just the unbelievable playmaker is Treveyon Henderson. And no matter where the Steelers select him, I'd be happy with it. The first, if they don't trade back, I wouldn't entirely love it. I wouldn't entirely hate it either. It's just not my preferred method when they could use that to draft somebody that could fulfill another position while taking maybe Henderson later or another running back. Like you mentioned, they brought in 9 later on.
Yeah.
So I don't want to rule him out in the first, but that'd be only ideal if they get a serious trade back option.
Yeah. Now, let's say that they don't take Henderson in the first, but they still trade back if Sanders and or Harmon are not there. What's the possibility of a guy like Kaleb Jonson falling to the Steelers day 2 if they were to get a second-round pick? Trading back?
I think he's probably the most likely back you get if he's available with a trade back option. Say you get a second-round pick, he's probably the most likely option.
Yeah.
Just based on their interest. And Kaleb Jonson would be a home run selection in round 2.
Yeah.
I know everyone's worried about his 40 time, and he looks slow at the combine. Game speed's a lot different.
No, he plays a lot faster than what his 40 tells.
Yeah.
I mean, he is just a very elusive back, very patient. Again, very, durable. He's very strong. He's got good contact balance. He's got very good ball carrier vision. Very good at carrying the football as well.
Right.
Johnson's one of those guys that can do it all.
Yeah, Johnson's he's up there. I'd say he's a top 5 back in this entire class.
I would have to agree. If I had to rank it, it's of course Genty, Hampton, Henderson. I think I would put Jonson at 4 and maybe Junkins at 5.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Well, where's Scadaboo?
See, I love Scadaboo. I really love Scadaboo.
Scadaboo's different, man.
See, but that's the wild thing because Scadaboo's that's an honorable mention that Steelers could fall on if said backs are taken. But the weird thing is I don't think they've shown much interest in Cam Scadaboo.
I think they're looking for someone with some legitimate speed.
Yeah.
I think they're looking for someone with, Scadaboo can do everything you ask him to. He's very much like Warren. Like if there's a complete player comp to Cam Scadaboo, it's Warren. They look so identical.
See, I get the Warren comp, but I see a lot of James Conner in him.
Okay, that's even better. I like that one even better.
Yeah.
Just without the injury and fumbling concerns.
Yes.
But yeah, I think they want somebody that's just going to be more explosive, someone that's quicker off the line, quicker between the tackles, someone with legitimate speed.
And that I can understand that the Steelers are looking for that, and I'm all for that. I just love Cam Scadaboo's mentality and what he brings to the table.
I do too. But I think we need to get back to a speedy backfield. You got the thumper, you got the receiving upside, you got a great rotational guy in Warren. We just need somebody that could either lead the backfield for the next couple of years if Warren doesn't pan out, or we need somebody that's going to complement Warren with shiftiness and contact balance and speed at the next level and home run ability while showcasing 3-down potential. I think Steelers have looked at plentiful of backs, specifically the 9 in the top 30 visits, that any of them could be very, very good options. DJ Giddens is one of my favorite day 2 backs. Dylan Sampson, very good and a very much younger back than most of these.
Yeah.
His only issue is his fumbling. We don't want the fumbling. If he can clean that up, I think Sampson's going to be a very good back. Tootin from Virginia Tech. He's a little smaller, but lightning speed and 3-down potential. Receiving upside, he's very strong in pass pro. He's very good. But how many fumbles has he had in the past couple of years? Too many.
I think he's actually had more than Sampson has had.
Yeah.
And that's another issue. Is the fumbling.
Serious ball protection issues.
Yeah.
Ollie Gordon is a little bit on the slower side. Reminds me of a slower Najee. Do we want to get back to that? Love Najee to death, but that didn't pan out.
No, and Gordon's recent season, it was nothing reminiscent of his 2023 year.
No.
Like something wasn't clicking, something was missing about Gordon. The Steelers could take a chance on that, try to get that back out, but do they want to get slower at the running back position?
If they want to wait on a back like day 3, they could get an Ollie Gordon. They've shown plenty of interest in him. But he's a tough runner. He'll get the tough yardage, but yeah, he's a slower Najee, in my opinion.
He's more of a short yardage goal line back in those situations, which is fine.
I kind of see a little bit of a Garrett Blunt in him.
That's actually not a bad.
Just a little bit.
That's not a bad comparison.
But Blunt wasn't a premier back, and I think we need somebody that's going to be a premier back.
Yeah.
Jayden Blue from Texas. Great rotational piece. Blazing speed, receiving upside. So you want to bring him in as a 3-down or as the 3rd-down guy for the receiving ability and use his speed in wheel routes or anywhere along the backfield, anywhere in the short yard situation, you could do that. And I think Steelers have shown plenty of interest in a lot of the Longhorns. So I wouldn't mind Blue. He's just not that much of a runner. He's more of a receiver, in my opinion, but he could very well develop into being a complete guy. Kaleb Jonson. Again, not the fastest guy, but I think game speed's different. I think what he does on the field is excellent. I think if they get a trade back option and they get a 2nd-round pick back, I think he's very much in consideration for round 2. Mm-hmm. If he makes it to round 3, that's even better. I just don't see it.
No.
I just don't see it.
It'd be hard to see it.
RJ Harvey is a sleeper at 83. Could fall to the 4th round. Would like that as well. He's a little older. He has a little more, miles on him compared to the last 2 years, but I think he'd be a very solid option in rounds 3 or 4. And Henderson, again, my favorite back of the entire group. Don't want to rule him out in the 1st, but prefer him in the 2nd with a trade back option. Also don't want to sleep on so many of the other options because, they've looked at 9 running backs, but there's so many others that they could bring in.
Yeah, we mentioned Cam Scadaboo. There's a Damian Martinez out of Miami, Florida.
What about Quinton Judkins? What if they trade back and draft Judkins instead?
Well, they took out, I think it was 4 Ohio State Buckeyes to pro day dinners after their pro day.
It was like Buka, Will Howard, Henderson and Judkins.
Yeah, so I mean, like they already had the interest there with Judkins to a degree, so they're looking at him. There's also Devin Neal out of Kansas State.
Right.
You know, there's a guy like that they could fall behind. So it goes to show that this running back class is loaded with talent. It is stacked. It has a lot of upside. You know, who remembers the 2017? I think it was the 2017 running back class where it had a plethora of names like all over the board, and it's, you know, like those backs, you know, stood out. They were like capable runners. They were anchors for many teams' offenses and whatnot.
Yeah, that was a great class.
This could be very reminiscent, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's so much.
If everybody can, you know, be developed right, if they can live up to their pedigree, if they can live up to their talent and upside, I think it's got the makings to be very reminiscent of 2017.
Yeah, this is such a good running back class, and it's a good problem for the Steelers to have because they don't have enough picks. Maybe they trade back and get a second pick in return, which would be very, very favorable, and we'll discuss that. And then we've discussed that a couple times in a couple mocks. We'll discuss it Wednesday night as well. But anywhere they want to take a run back, I think they're going to find a very good rotational guy, someone that could lead the backfield. But the earlier you take it back, the better chances you have of somebody literally being that next guy at that position.
Indeed.
I don't want to say Warren can't be the guy because when he had the ball in his hands, when he was healthy, he was one of our better backs, arguably the better back. But I don't want to take anything away. How much of that was from rotating with Najee? How much was that because of him being seen in limited time? How much was that because the Steelers use him in a very unpredictable manner, which should remain the same? But can he stay healthy and can he limit the fumbles? That's my biggest issue at Warren. He's a phenomenal football player. I mean, hell of a story.
Stud in 2023.
And he was the offensive MVP all year.
He was.
Along with Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
He was a stud in 2023.
Yeah.
Last year he dealt with injuries and he came back later on and still was a good rotational guy.
To a point that he actually got more carries and more playing time than Najee, and I think more than half of those games.
Well, it was the writing on the wall for Najee to leave too.
Yeah.
So Warren can still be a very good back for us. Can he be the premier guy? The Steelers are going to give him the opportunity, and no matter where the Steelers draft a running back, I think Warren will start off as the one. But we need a 1A and a 1B, especially in this league.
Now, I do believe Warren will start off as the running back one when it comes to OTAs, training camp, and even the regular season, right?
Yeah.
And it's up to Warren to really, you know, take that opportunity and run with it, no pun intended, to really, you know, step up and really showcase his talent, even as an undrafted free agent. You know, Warren's story is an incredible one. You know, he's been a hell of a back, you know, for us as a rotational guy. Now his chance to be the running back one, to be the top dog as our lead running back. You know, it's up to Warren to really take that chance and see if he can go the extra mile with it.
I agree.
But to get a rotational piece is very, you know, very needed for the offense and for Arthur Smith, of course.
Well, you also just don't know what the future holds for a guy like Warren.
No, I mean, he's only here based off the second round tender that they placed on him. And I don't know when or even if they decide to extend Warren.
I don't know either. That's my reason for taking a running back so early.
It could be a case where they want to see what Warren can do as a running back one, and then maybe they could, you know, dive back into that hole and see if they can extend Warren and keep Warren around.
Or better yet, how about you just do the exact same thing that Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are doing? They're both incredible running backs. They're co-starters.
And they both got extended just last year, actually.
I would extend Warren and then draft a running back pretty early and make those two the premier part of the offense until you get a quarterback.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they should do.
That's what the Lions did when it came to drafting Gibbs. They took him in the first round, but if I remember correctly, they had Montgomery start off as running back one until Gibbs got more playing opportunities, got more snaps. He eventually took that lead running back one.
And now
but they still utilized David Montgomery. And their usage and the way that Ben Johnson used him was so incredibly, you know, successful. It was so good.
And to give Arthur Smith some credit, I know we don't do it often, and it's for good reason, but to give him some credit, he loves to run the ball. It's his bread and butter. He knows how to run the ball. He runs a wide zone scheme. You get guys that are very comfortable and very confident and fit in that area. You get someone with speed that could lead the backfield, that could lead the offense very well.
Yeah.
That's what the Steelers need to. They want to get back to running the ball. It's not the greatest philosophy, but it's not unsuccessful. They have won with it before, and it's exactly how the offense has been led for many years, and that's not going to change. So if they're going to run with that philosophy, bulk up the running backs, bulk up the lineup, bulk up that backfield. That's why I want to go running back early in this draft class.
Yeah.
And they brought in plenty of guys, and there's more that they didn't bring in that they could still select just based off of the fact they didn't bring him in.
Yeah.
They have endless options at running back, and I love that.
Yeah.
I also don't want to roll out Marion Hampton in the first. Like we stated earlier, I don't know if he lasts based on the teams that are going to need running back, and that might take running back. But what if he does fall? You know, I was thinking months ago, this is before the combine. I thought to myself, what if Genty falls and that's not happening?
No.
So I'm not even going to start with that.
No.
But what if Hampton falls? He's a first-round running back. And there's not many running backs you can say about that nowadays.
No.
He's a first-round running back. If he falls to 21, do you think he could be the pick?
I think it's something that the Steelers could for sure look into and opt to go with. Because, I mean, Hampton is an incredible back. He's a big back that does carry speed. He's a physical back. I mean, when you look at the history of Steelers running backs and the style of running backs, it's just been, you know, run right through you, you know, in your face physicality. Guys like Franco, Jerome Bettis, Le'Veon Bell, right? Guys like that, Najee Harris just recently.
James Conner when he was in his first year or so.
They are guys that
First year starting.
that just knocked you on your ass, that ran right through you. They weren't flashy. They weren't speedy. Not like a Willie Parker was, right? Willie Parker was an exception. He was different. He was a good back in his own right with his style. But the history of running backs for the Steelers is physicality. Guys are going to run you over. They're going to truck you. Hampton brings that. That is his style. It's very reminiscent to that. So I could see the Steelers wanting to maybe get back to that at a consistent basis, I should say, and opt to go with Hampton because he's got the size, he's got the physicality, he's got the pedigree.
Well,
he's got the great collegiate career background.
He is a complete back. And, yeah, he's had 2 straight years of heavy mileage, but then you bring him in to pair with Warren. I mean, that's going to take that's gonna spare him years.
Yeah.
On his NFL career, and he's 22 years old.
Still young.
Very young at the position, and we bring him in Warren, rotate him. You got a backfield that can lead the charge for a while. I don't think he's gonna be there, but if he is, I also don't want to roll him out because they brought Hampton in for a top 30 visit, meaning they're keeping their eyes open for any option in the first round. And if they really want to get a premier back and they want to add playmakers to the offense, like Omar Khan stated at the combine, can't get none better than a Marion Hampton.
No, and I'm glad that you brought that up because, yes, you can't really close the door on Hampton as a possibility at 21 because of the back that he is and what he brings to the table.
I know people don't like running backs in the first because, it's such a short career span, short shelf life. Listen, a Marion Hampton is just different compared. Like, I think he's a better first-round back than what Najee was. And Najee was drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
Like, if you're asking, will we go running back in the first round again 4 years later? I wouldn't hate Hampton at all. I wouldn't. The Steelers want to run the ball. You're going to get an effective playmaker. That's what the Steelers need on offense.
Yeah. Do they want to go with that style, the old history style, or do they want to pivot to a different style of like a Henderson, a do-it-all back?
Now,
something that they are prone about and very adamant about doing.
I know. I think that's what they're trying to add back to that backfield is they want 2 real solid 3-down guys that are going to rotate and help each other out.
Yeah.
My only issue with taking running back in the first is, you're pushing D-line back. And that's one thing I don't want to do.
Yeah, because, again, you don't have that second. You could say DK was our second-round pick.
He was.
True.
6 years later.
Yeah, but, yes, I mean, defensive line, there is no fill-in starter there.
There's not.
With running back, essentially, you do have one. Warren, he's going to be given that opportunity. You brought in a very familiar backup throughout the league of Kenneth Gainwell.
He's a very good back. He's a very good backup.
Yeah.
He's got no problem playing, as a third down guy. He's got no problem playing kickoff return. He's very good receiving guy as he was a receiver turned running back from his days at Memphis.
Yep.
So, they don't have to take one early. They don't have to take a running back till maybe day 3 because they got that security blanket in Gainwell.
Yeah.
Maybe they got too much faith in Warren.
And because of that, wouldn't all signs point, wouldn't it make more sense for them to go D-line first round because after you cut Larry, you don't have anybody else. Are you going to give that opportunity to DeMarvin Leal? I don't think so.
Now, obviously,
Loudermilk, I don't think so.
That's discussion for tomorrow. I don't want to jump ahead.
No, but just throwing it out there just for today.
Yeah, because you think they take this position, they push something back. Running back, D-line are 2 of the positions that are probably the most stacked, so they could do it. They could afford to do it.
Yeah.
Which is why first round is so unpredictable. So unpredictable. Even they could even go wide receiver.
Yes, they could. I mean, they have looked in that boat. They have looked at wide receiver. There's some of the top dogs there.
There's two guys. Well, one specific that is surefire first rounder. And I don't know if he'll be there at 21. But there's another guy that's getting first round talks. Jayden Higgins.
Iowa State cat.
I wouldn't take him at 21. I think that's a bit of a reach. Maybe if you want to trade back and then take him later on, that's a little more acceptable. But they also looked at Matthew Golden.
Yes, they have.
Matthew Golden, biggest playmaker for Quinn Ewers last year. Absolute baller.
Stood out at Texas.
He's got unbelievable speed. He's a savvy route runner. Strong hands, man. He can make plays down the field. He's a legitimate deep threat with yak capabilities. If he's there, he might be best player available. Do the Steelers go best player available with Matthew Golden? What do you do with Pickens? Matter of fact, why wouldn't you want to keep Pickens and keep Golden in the slot? Can you imagine DK, Golden, and Pickens?
Yeah, listen, I know we don't have a quarterback, but still, I mean, like, you want any quarterback that you would run with and have to succeed with a receiving trio like a George Pickens, DK Metcalf, and a Matthew Golden. I mean, holy shit.
That's what I'm saying. So these are the names they brought in. I don't think Golden gets there. I think he's too good to fall all the way down to the 21st pick.
No, but like you mentioned, they brought in Matthew Golden for top 30 visit, Jayden Higgins, of course, but they have looked at other options for day 3 specifically.
Yeah, they've only brought in four receivers. Matthew Golden being a surefire first rounder. Higgins is getting first round talks, but mostly, in our opinion, like a second round pick, if that's like a trade back scenario. They brought in Jaylin Noel, the other Iowa State cat, and they brought in Treveyon Williams
from TCU.
And he's a prototypical Cordell Patterson comp, but a prototypical Arthur Smith gadget guy that he uses very much like he did with Cordell Patterson in Atlanta in this past year until Patterson got hurt.
Yes.
That would be a perfect fit for Treveyon Williams to be used the way Arthur Smith likes to use a guy like him. My only issue is his drops. And he's not a complete wide receiver.
No, he's definitely a work in progress. He's a developmental guy.
But could he be a 2-1 selection for the Steelers? They've looked at 9 running backs. They brought in 4 wide receivers. But could they take a guy like Treveyon Williams, say, in the 3rd round to fill 2 holes with one guy?
Two birds with one stone.
You want a rotational piece to pair with Warren? Okay, well, Treveyon Williams. Oh, you want a rotational guy that can work outside and in the slot? A receiver? You got Treveyon Williams.
For a day 3 option, in my opinion, he would be a very good selection.
Day 3.
Or day 3.
Day 3.
Day 3. You think he falls to day 3?
Maybe.
See, I could see him being day 2 just based off the upside he brings.
What do you guys think? You guys think Treveyon Williams could fall to day 3?
Like in the 3rd round or something like that. I could see that as a potential because I think his name could rise based off the talent. You know, I think teams could take a chance on his talent and work on the progress for his development and whatnot for running back, wide receiver. I mean, when it comes to his play on the field and his tape, yes, very, very reminiscent of Cordell Patterson. If there's anything that I can praise Arthur Smith about, back in his Atlanta days when Patterson was younger, he did know how to use Cordell Patterson. So he's very familiar of using a talent of that versatility.
Yeah.
When they're at their peak, when they're at their youth, when they're at their fastest and strongest. Patterson was a standout for Atlanta when Arthur Smith was the head coach. He was very good. He's not good nowadays because, of course, he's older. He's basically at the tail end of his career. But if there's something or somebody that knows how to utilize a talent of that versatility, a guy of that talent and size and speed, it is Arthur Smith.
Right.
He's very familiar with that. He's done it before. If the Steelers were to get a guy like a Treveyon Williams, day 2, maybe day 3 if you were to fall that far, and have him work with Arthur Smith, Smith could probably get something out of him. I don't know. But just based off the track record of what he did with Patterson, I mean, like, it's something that you can sort of kind of trust, sort of kind of rely on. It's really a matter of what Williams could really do with that coaching. You know, if you can work on the negativities, right? If you can get better at all that.
Well, his biggest thing is his drops. Otherwise, he's got great size, explosiveness, great speed. He can make plays down the field. He can make plays short. You want to give him the ball short and let him use his yak ability, he's more than capable. In fact, that's probably where he's best used.
Yeah.
Is that if they want to use him as a gadget guy, they can use him in the screen area. They can use him on quick slants. middle of the field, if they ever want to entertain any of that, which has been a while for the Steelers, Savion's perfect for that. So if they want to wait on a guy like him to fulfill 2 holes in one, they could. And that could open later on for other needs. That could open up things before that to take other needs if they wanted to. Treveyon Williams just seems to be one of those players that the Steelers are showing tons of interest in based on his versatility, based on what he brings to the table from the offensive side, and how Arthur Smith has used a player like that in the past, and how he'd have that same model, that same frame again in this potential draft class with a guy like Treveyon Williams.
Yeah.
So I want to look at him. I want to think, if he's there at 83 and we don't take a running back or we don't take a receiver, he's more of a receiver than a running back, but, you want to take him, they could. If they don't take such position before then, if they don't take running back or receiver before then, if he's there in the 4th, which I don't believe, but let's say he is, I think he's going to be the pick because of the value based on their interest.
Mm-hmm.
Just going to throw it out there, man. There's tons of options that they've looked at, but I think someone like that is very interesting that they brought in. They've shown tons of interest in just based on Arthur Smith and his track record and what Williams brings to the table. It's almost like a good fit for him.
It is.
Like if there's a coach,
It would be.
if there's a coach that's going to use Treveyon Williams in the way he should be portrayed, it ought to be Arthur Smith just based on the Cordell Patterson comp that he's getting.
Yeah, and there's not a lot that I trust about the coaching staff. I mean, you guys know that very well. But if there's one thing that, I can agree with is the fact that I feel like Treveyon would fit well with an Arthur Smith system.
Yeah.
I think it just fits on like a glove. I think it'd be perfect.
Again, my issues is his drops.
And that's up to Williams to fix that.
And I don't know if he's a terrific route runner. I don't think so. But you also got to think what you're drafting is what you're going to get. Like, you're not getting a complete receiver. You're not getting the flashiest guy. You're getting a playmaker. You're getting someone you can use as a gadget piece. You're getting someone that can be used anywhere along the field.
You're getting a Swiss Army knife. You're getting a puzzle piece.
Right.
You're getting a joker role. People said that Patterson was a joker role for how many years he was with Atlanta. That's what Williams would be.
Right.
And Williams, he's also got special teams upside as a returner because of that speed.
Absolutely.
So they could utilize him in that boat as well, maybe even to get his feet wet.
Yeah, so I could totally see it. I don't think he'll be the greatest receiver. I don't think he's the most complete receiver, but I think he'd be a solid pick for the Steelers if they want to entertain that.
Yeah.
Depends what they do beforehand. Depends who's all on the board at that time and point. But I can't look at a guy like Treveyon Williams and think the Steelers aren't going to be highly invested in what he could bring to the table based on how the Steelers want to use him and what he's capable of.
Yeah.
It just makes sense for the Steelers. So I like a guy like Treveyon Williams. Just things he needs to work on. And again, he'd only be used in rotations early on. Maybe he works his way up as a starter potentially, but he'd be used in rotations first and foremost. Get his feet wet in special teams.
Of course.
Maybe he gets time on early downs, maybe on check downs or whatever. But that's where he'd start off and then build his way up. So I can see Treveyon Williams being a strong option. Like out of all the receivers here that they've looked at, based on the top 30 visits, I think Williams is probably the most realistic option for the Steelers. Otherwise, other receivers, they met with Torrey Horton, who I really like in the 4th round.
Yep.
If he's there in the 4th round, they met with him for a formal meeting at the Combine. There's other receiver options like Emeka Egbuka in the 1st. They sent the house to Ohio State Pro Day.
Had dinner with him.
They had dinner with him too. So they didn't bring him for a top 30 visit, but because of what they did, they didn't want to waste a spot there.
No.
So I don't want to sleep on Egbuka. I know he was the Steelers fan favorite for so many weeks and so many months before free agency hit.
Before DK was traded
Exactly.
to the Steelers.
So maybe things change, but at the same time, maybe things don't change.
Again, who knows? I mean, when you look at Egbuka and his style, it's very reminiscent of a Steelers receiver.
Right.
Can block, he can catch, he's physical, he's got speed, he's got, good size for his receiver, for his position, right? For a receiver. He's good. He's a very good receiver. He stood out for Ohio State.
Oh, big time.
Guy's a surefire first-round pick, in my opinion.
I'm going to not expect that, though, but I'm just going to throw it out there because, again, we're talking offensive options here.
But, again, there's a lot of names in this receiver class. They've also had combine visits with a Jack Beck from TCU, Savion's teammate. They've looked at a Trey Harris out of Ole Miss, big guy.
Love Trey Harris.
They've looked at a slot receiver like Xavier Restrepo, though I think he's on the slower side of things.
I doubt. Yeah.
I think he ran like a 4.8 from what I read a couple weeks back. Yeah, not the fastest guy. Reliable target for Cam Ward, but not the fastest.
Steelers aren't going to look his way.
They did visit with him, so I threw him out there. There's also, an elite Iomanner, right, from Stanford.
Elite Manor, yeah.
Jaylin Royals, right? He's a good talent. Troy Horton, like you mentioned. Dante Thornton Jr., we put him in a mock. I think it was our second mock, if I'm not mistaken.
And receiver coach, Zach Asani, went to Tennessee Pro Day.
Yeah. There's Jimmy Horn of Colorado.
Love Jimmy Horn.
Could be a good special teams guy to start off. Ricky White, you want to talk about special teams from UNLV? Ricky White is one of my favorite later round wide receivers if they want to wait later day 3 for a wide receiver.
See, here's the thing about the receiver positions. We mentioned all these names. I don't know if they ever go receiver. They could. I think would be ideal. I know we got Pickens, DK, Calvin, Roman, Skoranek, Scotty. We got names there, but you also got to think Pickens is in his final year. Calvin Austin's in his final year. Can Roman stay healthy? I think it would be ideal to add more bodies. I think they still ought to revamp more of the receiving room. You can never have too many good wide receivers.
And honestly, I think it would be ideal for the Steelers, in my opinion, to look at outside wide receiver depth. Because when you look at the team right now, just off the names you listed on the roster, I don't think there's anybody capable that could really stand out as the primary backup wide receiver for George and DK.
Right.
So it's something that they could look into. They could try out.
Yeah.
That could be a Savion Williams. That could be a Torrey Horton.
Dante Thornton.
That could be a Dante Thornton, right?
Dante Thornton's interesting because he reminds me a lot of Bryant. He doesn't have a lot of collegiate production. He doesn't have a lot of stats in college, but he's an absolute deep threat, and he only knows one route, yes, but that's why he would be drafted. He only knows one route, which is a go. He's got lightning speed, and he's an unbelievable playmaker.
That he is.
And if the Steelers want to do the play under center, play action, deep ball, he can be more of that piece. Not saying he's going to turn out like a Martavis Bryant, but I see traits very similar in terms of size, the speed, the playmaking ability, the deep threat. I see that very much in Thornton. If they want to take a receiver, they could absolutely take one earlier in like rounds 1 or 3 where they stand now with the picks.
Yeah.
But they could also go so many other positions. I think day 3 is more so the sweet spot. So I like Thornton. I like Ricky White. I like a Theo Weiss later, a Jimmy Horn potentially.
Yeah.
Guys like that. If they want to add more to the receiving room and have somebody that could work their way up. There are some day 3 sleepers out there. There absolutely are. If they want a Calvin Austin model replacement, Jimmy Horn's the guy. If they want an outside frame, outside deep threat, Thornton could be the guy. If they want a special teams demon that could work in the slot, you got a Ricky White, not the fastest guy, but good hands and a hell of a special teams player that would be eventually your next ace at that position, along with Skoranek. There's options all over the table.
There is.
I don't know where they take receiver. I don't know if they ever go receiver, but they've looked at some of the names, and I think there are some very quality options later on if they want to wait.
Yeah. And based off the top 30 visits that they've looked at position-wise, it's been nothing but quarterback 4, running back 9 of them, and wide receiver 4 of them.
And one position you notice that they didn't bring in anybody, and I don't think they've shown much interest in a lot of these players, is O-line.
For once.
Because, and here's the main reason. I'm not saying you have to accept it. I'm not saying you have to like it. But the reality of the situation is the Steelers are going to go into week 1 next year, whoever that's against. They're going to go into week 1 of the 2025 NFL season knowing they have all their starters where they have them. Broderick at left, Sayamalu at 2, or at guard, rather.
Zach
Frazier at center.
My center.
Mason McCormick at right guard, and Troy Futanu at right tackle. As long as everyone stays healthy, that is your starting offensive line.
Knock on wood.
They're not going to select offensive line very early. If they ever take O-line, which at this point I doubt, it's only going to be depth. Could they trade back, and could they take like a guard in like the 3rd or 4th, almost like they did with McCormick last year? They could. If I had to give you a name, maybe a Tate Ratledge out of Georgia. They love their Georgia Bulldog lineman.
That they do.
So I like him as long as he stays healthy. Maybe he's someone that they could breed under Sayamalu because eventually you're going to have to replace him. And they did, have interest in him for sure. I think they sent the house to the Georgia Pro Day. So there's options there. It's just based on most of their interest in the offensive position specifically. I just don't view them looking at O-line as a dreadful need like they have the past couple of years. And I know a lot of you guys don't like that, but it's just the reality of the situation. I'm not expecting them to go O-line early. If they do, obviously I'm not going to hate it because eventually you're going to have to replace Sayamalu. And frankly, you don't know what the future holds at the tackle position. Can you trust Jones to progress the way he needs to? Can you trust Fatana to stay healthy? So maybe they go O-line early. I'm just not expecting it.
I mean, they could. I mean, the possibility to go O-line early is for sure up there. Sayamalu, he's not getting any younger. Maybe they want to get younger at the guard position. You already got Mason McCormick, a young stud who did, in my opinion, very well in his rookie year, having to fill in for James Daniels. He did well at the right guard position. He's your right guard moving forward. Maybe they want to get younger and look for a replacement for Sayamalu. That's a possibility because Spencer Anderson is the primary swing guard, swing backup, basically all over the offensive line, really, but primarily as a swing guard.
Yeah,
Spencer Anderson. And again, the tackle position, it is a question mark because the lack of playing time for Broderick over at left. He's only got 2 years to really lay down that position, to really put his stamp on that position full time. And Fatano, he's coming off an injury that took him out all his rookie season.
Yeah.
So, yes, tackle is a question mark. I would say the tackle depth is, of course, a question mark. They've assigned Calvin Anderson, who's a swing tackle, to a 2-year deal. I'm not the biggest fan of that because when he had to fill in or step in for quite a few snaps, and I know he's a backup, but I wasn't satisfied with his play. I know he's a backup, but I don't find him as a good backup.
Maybe I'm nitpicking here, but all I remember about Calvin Anderson last year is his first snap as a Steeler, he allowed a sack.
Yeah, I remember that. I
couldn't tell you what game, but that's all I remember.
And you have Dylan Cook, who's primarily right tackle, I believe, and he's never played one bit of NFL action.
Yeah, we have no tackle depth. We are so bare there. So maybe they go tackle early. Maybe they go tackle somewhat day 3. I'm just not expecting it. And the fact that they brought in no offensive linemen for top 30 visits or they've shown any realistic interest, I'm not expecting O-line whatsoever.
No, but
especially early on.
We have mocked quite a handful of backup tackles in the later rounds, primarily within the day 3 selections. We had a Holland Pierce in a mock. We had a Logan Brown in a mock. In our recent mock just today, we put in a Brandon Crenshaw Dixon in there. So, I mean, you kind of get the gist of where our mindset is, where we think that the Steelers could look at when it comes to tackle if they want to have a desire to take a tackle in the later round just for a swing depth, a developmental guy, if anything.
Right.
Just like Dan said, I don't know if they actually go because they, on paper, have their backups filled in. They assigned Calvin Anderson. They have Dylan Cook. They brought back a backup guard, Max Sharpking, who was basically a healthy and active last year.
Yeah,
he might just be nothing but a healthy scratch. I have no idea. That's what he was last year. I don't know what their mindset is when it comes to the depth of the offensive line specifically because the starters are filled. We have the starters. That's first and foremost. It's got some upside, but it's also got some question marks. We're going to have to see what all of them, as they grow together, what they can bring all out of each other, especially our offensive line coach still, and just what the backups can do. That is the question mark primarily, in my opinion, is the backups again. I don't know what they do with the backup offensive line position. I don't. But I wouldn't be surprised if they were not to take one in the draft.
Right.
I wouldn't. Maybe they were to desire to look at a defensive position in the later rounds, maybe. Maybe they trade back, and maybe that's more of a possibility to go with a backup offensive lineman. Maybe that's more digestible.
Preferably a tackle or a left guard.
If they don't, then, again, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well,
but in my opinion, I think that they should.
According to Somber in the chat, I want to give him a shout out here. He says the only 2 guys I've heard interest in are Wyatt Millam and Charles Grant from William and Mary. Obviously, Mike Tomlin's old college. I think played receiver there.
Yes, he did.
He said both of those guys are in the 3rd-ish round. Yeah, I'm familiar with both of those guys because I did look into them. But more so Charles Grant because I can absolutely see Mike Tomlin taking a guy like him if they get picks back in a trade situation or trade back situation. It just makes sense. Tomlin loves his connections. Tom loves his guys closer to home, which is why he took Edmonds so many years ago, which is why Keith Butler and Matt Canada were his coaches underneath him for so many years.
Yeah.
So I could absolutely see that. And I don't hate that because I think we could use better depth there and someone to challenge the younger guys. You can never have, you can never be complacent with where you're at, despite them being our 2 previous first-round picks.
Yeah, I'm all for adding more bodies and more competition and just making these guys better when it comes to the trenches.
Yeah.
On the offensive line and defensive line. I'm all for adding more bodies, getting these guys in there, seeing what they can get the most out of each other, and just seeing if they can take that next step.
And another name I'll mention, and I already mentioned, was Tate Ratledge from Georgia.
Yeah.
Based on the Georgia connection. They love their Georgia Bulldogs. His only issue is, can he stay healthy? Didn't he have tightrope surgery last year?
That I can't remember. But, yes, the injury is a concern.
Huge concern. But when he's on the field, he can be a mauler along that interior line.
Yeah.
So I'll throw his name out there. But those are like third-round guys. It only makes sense if they have a trade-back situation.
Yeah.
Because all the other needs, all the other positions they've looked at from an offensive aspect is what we talked about in the top 30 visit bracket.
So you're just talking about it. I think it would be a lot better to just have extra room, extra space if you were to just trade back.
Agreed.
If they can even find a trade partner at that.
Right.
And if a trade partner is going to be willing to trade up, I think it depends on just who's on the board, of course.
Right. I mean, I'll also mention this. Omar Khan and Andy Waddle, they have one thing in common. It's all about building the trenches. I think half of their selections the past couple years have been the trenches.
Actually, let me look back at that because I think they took four.
They took 3 in 2023, trenches-wise. And in last year, they took another 3.
Four.
4?
Fatanu, Frazier, McCormick, and Lee. Logan Lee.
Oh, Lee. I forgot about Lee.
Yeah.
He was out. So in 2023, I think it was 2023, they took Broderick Jones, Keanu Benton, and Spencer Anderson was that same class, right?
Yes.
So that's 3 in 2023 from the trenches altogether. Last year, like you mentioned, Fatanu, Frazier, McCormick, and Lee. So you're talking 7 guys within the trenches the last 2 years. That's basically half of our draft picks the past couple years since Omar Khan and Andy Waddle have been in charge. And I don't think that's going to change. They haven't looked at as many first-round defensive linemen as I've liked, but that's a deep class. O-line, they haven't looked at many offensive linemen, but you still can't rule it out.
No.
Just goes to show you, I think that's still going to be their message. They're not satisfied. They're going to keep adding bodies. It's that Philadelphia Eagles, Howie Roseman mentality that I don't expect to change.
No, and you've seen just how well it's worked out for Philly, just adding all that talent, taking high capital with that talent, and just having the proper coaches to develop that talent and get them to where they are. I mean, look at Cam Jurgens, man.
And that's what's most important. Coaching.
I mean, Cam Jurgens, what was he, a guard coming out of college?
Guard.
And he replaced Jason Kelsey, of all people, to be their primary center. He just got extended 4 years. He's getting paid, what, $17 million? Just a million short of Creed Humphrey?
Well, you also, what?
Yeah. Yeah, Creed Humphrey's getting 18. I think Jurgens getting 17 mil. If I read that correctly.
I heard he got extended, but I know it's that close to Creed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Should have been a Steeler.
Yes.
Hey,
I love Muth, but
we're talking draft talk here, man. He should have been a Steeler.
Yeah.
I love Frazier.
You know who also should have been a Steeler? Linderbaum.
Linderbaum, yeah.
He's now a Raven, and we went with Mr. Spinney.
We're very happy we got Frazier.
I love Frazier. The sign's still over there, by the way,
Yeah.
when I tried to break it. I got to get that out for draft night. Just as a memoir, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like literally
A memoir? You mean a memory?
whatever. Memoir, memory, whatever. You get the
I do get what you're going to say, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, you can't exactly you can't exactly rule out the trenches, especially defensive line. I mean, we'll talk about that tomorrow for sure.
Yeah.
But because today's topic was the offensive side, tomorrow will be the defensive side. But you can't rule out the trenches. And you also got to look at, look how the Eagles built up their line, man. They had Landon Dickerson, who was a center, and then moved him to left guard. They kept Kelsey at center. They had Cam Jurgens sit under. I think they had Cam Jurgens sit, or maybe they had Landon Dickerson sit. One of them sat under Isaac Sayamalu until Sayamalu left for the Steelers, obviously.
I think that was Jurgens.
I think it was Jurgens.
Because
Or was it Dickerson?
Sayamalu was a right guard in Philly before he came to Pitt and switched to left. Because he had prior experience over at left earlier in his career.
No, because they moved Landon Dickerson to left. They had Jurgens sit under Kelsey and Sayamalu, and they put Jurgens at right guard. And then when Kelsey retired, they put Jurgens at center, and they had Mekhi Becton at right guard.
Yeah.
That's what depth does to you. You build these guys up, and the Steelers should follow the same method.
I think
And
I think they're trying to.
Well, they did that with McCormick.
They're trying to.
They did that. They did exactly that with McCormick last year.
They're trying to go with that. They have the same mindset because Waddle's connection to Philly and Howie Roseman. It's the coaching. We know this.
Yeah, we're running back with the same coaching literally virtually everywhere, especially the O-line. So
it all goes back to that. But that doesn't mean that the Steelers should not look at some of the top talent. You know what I mean?
sure.
You got to bring in the top talent. You got to bring in these guys to come in and do their assignment, bring their capabilities to the table.
Right.
Simple as that.
Phil says 1 Henderson, 2 DK, which, I mean, that's official. 3 Milrow, 4 JJ Pegues, who I love. 5,
We don't have a fifth.
5 safety.
Wait, we do have a fifth.
Yeah, we have a fifth.
Yeah, my bad.
5 safety, 6 Hutch Macher, and 7 offensive tackle. I don't hate that. I'd only accept Henderson if we trade back and get more picks out of it.
Yeah.
But I don't entirely hate that. I don't hate that at all. Like if that was the case, sure. The only thing I have with Pegues is I don't know if he's a day one starter. I think he's an excellent rotational guy. I just don't know if he's a day one starter.
Definitely going to have to be in development. But I love his play style. I love his two-way
versatility.
Yes,
two-way player for sure.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
He's like a bigger version of Travis Hunter.
Yeah,
just not a receiver.
You could be like the Ravens fullback. What's his name? The big back, 300 pounds.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Patrick Rashard.
Patrick Rashard, yeah.
Or even the Chargers fullback last year.
Yeah, that dude, yeah. Which is funny. The Harbaughs, man, they have the same minds.
Same mindset. Same mindset. Heard Browns like Miller a lot. Makes sense. They like bad quarterbacks.
Yeah, you can take them. Listen, nothing against Milrow. It's just I'm not all for overdrafting Milrow. I'm not.
Baltimore and Philly have done better in the draft because they take the best player available regardless of position, says Scott Atkins. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I want to make this right now. I'm going to let you guys know right now. I know this is for Wednesday, but I want to let you guys know right now. Best player available. If he's there, I don't care who's on the board, bro. I don't care if Sanders is on the board. I don't care if Grant's on the board. I don't care if Harmon's on the board. If Jahdae Barron is on the board, you take him. It's bad enough you passed on Christian Gonzalez because you had a bad meeting, a bad 30-day top 30 visit. Who gives a fuck? You passed on him.
Swear jar.
You passed on Quinion Mitchell last year. If Jahdae Barron is on the board, you better run to the podium.
Hell, arguably,
that's just my preferred.
Arguably, you passed on Brian Branch.
Yeah, you did for JPJ. And Brian Branch was the better ball player.
He was. And Barron
still is.
Barron's play is very reminiscent of Branch.
Yeah, very.
And Branch is a dog, dude. And Barron is a dog.
Telling you right now, if Barron's on the board, he better be the pick.
I don't see how he falls, though.
I don't either, so I'm not getting my hopes up.
But if he does, I mean, you don't miss out on that.
Better be the pick. I'm telling you right now.
You don't miss out on that.
Right now.
But there's no way.
No, he's not falling.
There's no way.
He's not falling. I don't know how soon Will Johnson goes, but I wouldn't be surprised if Barron goes before Will Johnson. And if Will Johnson goes before him, I wouldn't be surprised if Barron follows shortly after.
Yeah, really.
If Barron is there at 21, you do not pass on him. I don't care what you need. I don't care who's on the board. That's a man that's going to transform your secondary for years.
That's BPA, dude.
Just saying, man. Just putting it out there. Any other players you want to mention, particularly at the quarterback position? Because we talked about Sanders, we talked about Dart a little bit, and we'll talk more about them on Wednesday for sure, since they'll be within the first round talks.
Yep.
We talked about Jaylin Noel. We talked about Will Howard. Anyone else? Kyle McCord, they brought him for top 30 visit. Anyone else they might have shown interest in? We talked about Tyler Shuck a little bit.
The only names I could really think that they could fall back on if the players that they've brought in for top 30 visits or showed slight interest in are no longer on the board, maybe a Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon. I know he's on the older side. He's like 24 and a half years old, something like that.
No, hard pass on Ewers.
I'm not a fan of Ewers. I'm
not a fan either.
I'm not.
First of all, I'll say this I think he's got good short and intermediate accuracy. I think he's he steps up in the pocket pretty solidly, but that's pretty much about it.
I like his middle of the field usage.
Yeah, he uses mobility only when necessary. He's got a quick release of the ball, but otherwise, I think he stares down receivers too much. I think his accuracy is all over the place, especially in the deep ball department. He's often overthrowing receivers. I don't think he throws with anticipation. I think he's very jittery when the pocket collapses.
Yeah.
I see way too much Kenny and Quinn Ewers. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just see another Kenny and Quinn Ewers. Hard pass.
That's a player that they're going to keep their eye on, of course.
Hard pass.
I would agree.
In fact, we watched film on all these. We watched film on Miro. We watched film on Howard, Ewers, McCord, Shook, Dart, Sanders, Max Brosmer,
Dylan Gabriel.
We've watched film on all of them. And I can tell you right now, there's only 3 guys that we liked out of all those names, and that's Will Howard, Tyler Shook, and Kyle McCord. That's it. And they're not franchise guys. They're more backup options, preferably day 3. If I had to give you a preference, I want Will Howard, preferably round 4. Does he make it to round 4? I'd hope so.
That's up for debate.
I could see the Steelers taking him round 3 just to secure him, but I think round 4 would be better value. If there's any quarterback I want in this draft class that won't be heralded as the next future, that'll be a solid backup that could compete with Mason this year, it's Will Howard. And then Shook, he's obviously older. He's going to be 26 when the season starts.
Yes. And only one full season playing at Louisville.
Yeah, because 3 straight injuries at Texas Tech before transferring to Louisville. Yeah, big concern. And that's a reason why he's had so many years at college.
7 years at the college level.
Yeah, started off as Justin Herbert's backup in Oregon. That's how long he's been playing college ball, bro.
And then,
Justin Herbert is now playing with, his 3rd or 4th head coach?
Something like that. Or whatever.
That's crazy.
And
Shook is now entering the league at soon to be 26.
Yes. I mean, like 2 transfers, several injuries, a full season at Louisville, which was a good, productive season for Shook. It's where he really shined. Some people think Shook's going to go early day, or not early, late day 2, early day 3.
I forget who it was in the chat, and if he's still in here, please let me know. But I saw someone in the chat say that there are many people saying that they have Shook ranked as the quarterback 1. No. I like Shook. I think he's got good arm talent. He gives his receivers chances. He's pretty fearless with the football. He can throw in the tight windows. He's pretty mobile. He doesn't run it a lot, but he can use his mobility. He can roll out and still throw on the run. I think he's very well composed. He steps up in the pocket pretty nicely. Otherwise, I think he doesn't use his rushing ability enough. I think he sometimes throws into traffic a little too much. And yes, he's a little older.
Yeah.
He's too old, which at the quarterback position nowadays, it's Cyril Mieto.
Yeah, of course.
But otherwise, I don't think he's quarterback 1. I want to take him to day 3.
I don't see him. I don't see him as quarterback 1. He's going to have to work his way into being a quarterback 1 if he wants to be given a shot.
Justin Fields is 26. Wow, that puts it in perspective. And Justin Fields has been playing for 5 years.
Wow.
No, 4 years. Soon to be 5 years.
Soon to be, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah, that puts it into perspective for sure.
But like you stated, Will Howard, I agree. I think he's my preference at quarterback when it comes to options there. He has not the strongest arm strength or even arm talent, but he's got the arm talent where he gets the ball where he needs it to be. He's got a good arm. He's got great size. He's got ideal size for the NFL style.
He's got a prototypical Steelers quarterback frame.
And you wouldn't think he's mobile with that size, but he's pretty mobile when he needs to be. He doesn't rely on it, but when he needs to use it, he will use it.
Oh yeah, he's very familiar with an RPO system. So with an Arthur Smith, he could run it when necessary. He can run it if he needs to, which is a great add-on for him. And what he did in the playoffs and how he stepped up and how he played big in a lot of big moments for the Buckeyes last year. He was making every throw possible, giving the ball to his receivers. I think he's going to be a very solid backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Maybe he could work his way up to be a stopgap starter from time to time. But I think he's going to be a very, very good backup. I see a little bit of Rudolph in him and the way he likes to sling the football, the way he's confident in the pocket, the way he's got pressure, he's sensing pressure, but he stands strong and hits his targets, hits his throws.
Yeah, that's what he did for Ohio State.
He doesn't have the arm like Mason. I don't think he has as much of a pretty deep ball as Mason, but everywhere else, I think he throws with good confidence.
Yeah.
That's why I like Will Howard a lot. Yes, he had some of the best, literally the best talent in the world last year, but even with all that, he he stepped up big time at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Something that a guy like Kyle McCord couldn't do. And I know Kyle McCord, he left when Jeremiah Smith came in, but even still, he had Igbuka, he had Tate. He had so much other talent at Ohio State, and he just couldn't do what Will Howard could do.
No, his play at Ohio State was inconsistent. It wasn't at the level to what Ryan Day wanted out of him. And he needed to change the scenery in the end. And that's what he did. He transferred to Syracuse, where he played with lesser significant talent, but he felt more calm and confident with that school and in the pocket and with those players.
Mm-hmm.
To a point, he broke Deshaun Watson's previous record for the ACC single-season passing yards record with over 4,700 passing yards.
Now, you also got to keep in mind, he threw it almost 70 more times than the next quarterback with the most passing attempts.
That is fair.
Which was the LSU quarterback who was going into next year's draft class.
That is fair.
He threw it almost 70 more times than the next guy. He had almost 600 pass attempts last year. So that puts in perspective, yeah, he threw it a lot, but perhaps that's a good quality for him of how he can be reliant with the football in his hands.
And just the arm talent that he does possess, right, even as a backup. And he's a gunslinger.
And we're talking about Kyle McCord, by the way.
Yeah, McCord, he's a gunslinger. He may not have the arm strength. He may not have the Brett Favre arm strength of a gunslinger, but he's got the mindset of, I'm going to throw the son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Now, being a gunslinger, that comes with some negative. He is going to have to work with the turnover-worthy plays. That was a negative last year for Syracuse because he did leave the Power 5 in that category.
He's also he's got to stop relying on his first read. What he does is he stares down receivers a little too often, and typically he goes with his first read. And when his first read is unavailable and they're not open, he doesn't know what to do.
No.
So he's going to have to work in that area. But as a backup, I wouldn't mind McCord in like the fifth. Fifth at the highest.
Yeah, I think that's good value for a guy like McCord and just what he brings to the table with that gunslinger mentality, with his style of play on the field, his arm talent. I think it's something even for a backup that you can't really give up on.
Even his ball placement, giving the receivers the ability to be the only guy within range to catch the football.
Yeah, and
that's his biggest trait.
McCord is a competitor. That's what he brings. He's a competitor. He's a guy that's going to do his assignment, do it to the best of his ability, and just lead a group of men.
But that's literally the only quarterbacks that we like in this draft class that we would consider the Steelers taking and being a solid pick. But that's only for day 3. Will Howard, Tyler Shuck, or Kyle McCord. But I don't know if Shuck makes it out of day 2. I don't even know if Will Howard makes it out of day 2. McCord's probably going to be the safest day 3 pick you got, maybe, along with like a Max Brosmer, who the Steelers may not have shown too much interest in, but they did send a scout to his pro day. They did bring in his teammate Justin Wally, defensive back. We'll talk about him tomorrow for a top 30 visit. So they've done their due diligence at Minnesota. So maybe if they want to wait for a quarterback, we like Max Brosmer later on, preferably round 7. He'll probably be a 7th round pick, undrafted free agent. I think he's got the football smarts. I think he's a fearless quarterback in the way he throws with anticipation and can make the tight window throws and gives his receiver great ball timing in the way he hits his receiver in stride. I think he'll be a solid option 7th round. Do they wait to the 7th round? I don't know. Quarterback's another one of those picks, another one of those positions. Where they go, they're going to select one. That's inevitable. But where? Could it be 1st round with Shedeur Sanders? Could it be round 2, round 3, depending on the trade back situation? Our preference is day 3. But I wouldn't be surprised if they take one sooner.
There's no doubt they need a quarterback, of course. Does that mean that they should take a quarterback early? That they should reach, quote unquote, for a quarterback? No.
Yeah.
Just because you need one doesn't mean that you should be desperate to take a quarterback. It's not what you need. It's not what you should do.
It's not the draft class to do it.
It's not.
Not even if Sanders falls.
If it was a better draft class, I mean, you and I would probably be right here talking about, okay, quarterback's got to be the pick number 1 rather than defensive line.
Yeah, because this guy is just too good to pass on. I don't get that with any quarterback.
Looking at the tape, I didn't see anything that really stood out.
No.
That was like, hey, we got to get this guy. Oh, my God, did you see that play? Oh, my God, look at this man's traits. It might just be me. It might just be you. But I didn't see anything like that with the tape that we've seen.
Yeah, there's not really anyone that I'm pounding the table for at the quarterback position. There's not. There's not.
No.
Not this year.
The guys that stood out was the guys that you mentioned. Shook, Howard, and McCord. They're day 3 talent.
So although this might not be ideal to a lot of folks, I'm riding with Mason. And maybe if A-Rod wants to make up his mind, I don't know. He's got a lot of personal shit going on, swear jar. It just doesn't appear he's focused on football right now.
Dropped a quarter.
He's more closer to retirement than he is signing with the Steelers. That's what it appeared to, at least on the Pat McAfee show he did last week. He's just not in a football mindset. So ride with Mason and a rookie, wherever that is, and then you know what you got to do next year. I know it's not the most ideal for you guys, but that's just where we stand.
Well, the way I see it, we're not winning a Super Bowl.
Not this year.
We're nowhere.
We might not even win a playoff game. We might not even make the playoffs.
We couldn't with Russ, dude.
And I don't think Aaron Rodgers changes that.
We couldn't with Russ. What makes anybody else think, and even the Steelers themselves, what makes them think of 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers, where his state of mind, from what it sounded like on the Pat McAfee show, is not, hey, I want to play.
Yeah.
I want to play football right now.
Yeah, his head's not completely there. So 6 months later, or 5 months later, listen, I don't know what's going on in his personal life, and I wish him all the best and whatever's going on. I hope it's all good and dandy for him. 5 months later, where's his head going to be? Is he even going to be signed? What's he going to do for the team?
How far is he going to be when it comes to the offseason programs when they start for the Steelers?
I have no clue.
How far is he going to be in there?
But perhaps Tomlin doesn't care about that because, he's a veteran. He's used to being acclimated to these situations and being prepared for workouts and for all. It's like when Watt and Hayward, like last year, they didn't work as many preseason games. They got a lot of rest days because they're veterans. They know what they got to do. They're acclimated to these situations. They've been there, done that for so many years. They don't have to be this and that compared to all the other guys. That's going to be his same mindset with Aaron Rodgers because, they're veterans. They know what to do. They know what they have to do.
Dude, that was his mindset for Cordell Patterson in training camp. Patterson did not return kicks in training camp or even preseason at that, if I remember.
Well, that was his mindset with Ben so many years too.
The difference with Ben is he had familiarity with the team, right? With the coaches. I mean, he was Big Ben.
Yeah.
But it's like you're bringing in this new dude, this new quarterback, despite how long he's been with the league. Wouldn't you want that communication, that chemistry to be on point day one rather than week one? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't get that mentality. I'm not all about that. I think that's just stupid. I'm being real. Like, I know Tomlin's done it for years, but like, it doesn't sound good.
No,
it doesn't sound like a good idea, but I wouldn't be shocked if it were to happen again. But
I don't know, man. But inevitably, they're going to draft a quarterback. I just don't know when. I don't know where. I don't know who. If it's going to be somebody, I would think it's someone that they've seen a ton of, which is either one of their top 30 visits or someone they didn't bring in for a top 30 visit just based off of their pro day dinner and whose pro day they've attended. It's going to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
It's got to be one of those guys. I would hope it's day 3. Could be wrong. We'll see. That's going to be for maybe Thursday, maybe Friday, most likely Saturday. It's going to be a couple days until we finally see what next quarterback we're going to see paired with Mason. But in Mason we trust. I'm riding with Mason. I still got his jersey on standby.
Come the regular season, to start a 2025 season, me and Dan will rep that man's jersey, Mason Rudolph's jersey, every single game. We made a promise. We made a vow. If Mason returned, we'd wear that man's jersey every week, even if he was the backup, even if he wasn't
promises. What's the phrase? Promises something. Promises something. Promises kept.
Our promise will be kept, basically.
Yeah, I forget what the phrase is. Promises said, promises kept.
We're not breaking that promise.
Gist of it.
We're not breaking that promise.
No.
I'd rather ride with Mason.
I might even wear it for the draft. I don't know. I don't know what I'm sporting on draft night. All I know is I'm sporting a new draft hat. Love this.
Hell yeah.
I even got the black and gold one. It's still in the bag. I don't want to take it out.
As you shouldn't.
But I like this. I like this old school white teal one.
I'll keep rocking my old 75 anniversary hat just because the hat fits snug on my head. But that's a pretty rocking hat, bro.
There you go, Jay. Promises made, promises kept. There you go. I had an absolute brain fart right there. Appreciate you. We had the lowest kick return average. Patterson got to go. Why is he still a Steeler? Why is he still a Steeler? Maybe they don't go running back so early. Maybe they go at Warren, Gainwell, and Patterson, and they take a running back day 3. Maybe they're sold on quarterback, and they know they can't push D-line back so long. I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay, well, let's say that. Say, hypothetically, quarterback 1, first round. They go D-line, third round. 4th round's got to be running back, right?
Yeah.
It would have to be. If that's the path that they take. It's got to be.
I would think, If RJ Harvey's there, he's probably most likely
Within the
or
first-
or a Bashal Tootin from Virginia Tech.
Within the first 3 picks that the Steelers got right now, first, third, and fourth, it's one of those picks got to be a running back for sure.
And then we're talking if they take running back day 3, or it could be an Ollie Gordon, who they've shown tons of interest in
Yes, they have.
from the
Yeah.
start of the draft process to now. We don't know what path they're going. I don't think anyone does.
Thursday will be very telling with who they take in the first round. Whether it's at 21, whether if it's they trade back.
Yeah.
Maybe they trade up. I'm not for that, but all options are on the table.
Phil says you want a quarterback who stands in the pocket and gets creamed every 3 seconds like Russell Wilson. Maybe Arthur Smith offense means we can't have a scrambler. Fields didn't get to run. No, he got to run only in certain packages. He only got to run in certain packages. Sonny still says I still wear the 2002 draft hat. Which one is that? Oh, that's the one Kenny had.
2022. Do you still have it?
I got hats on standby.
You gonna bring it out?
Is that it? Is that the one Kenny had?
I don't remember. I'm gonna be real.
Was this last year's? No, I know it's okay. Hold on, where's it at? I got so many hats.
I'm gonna be real. I try to forget that draft class outside of
That's
Pickens.
an awful draft class.
Yeah. I don't think you have it up here.
I know it's the one that says pick is in. I forget where I put it. I got so many.
Maybe it's stashed somewhere else.
Maybe it's upstairs. I got so many hats. It's unbelievable.
Maybe you should wear that for draft night.
I'm not. I'm not. I think that's the one that says the pick is in.
Yeah.
I've bought every single draft hat since 2019.
Was that when
Bush.
Yeah.
Bush. I've bought every single hat since 2019, and I can tell you right now, I know only certain draft hats. If I would have to search it up to see which ones are what, but I got every single draft hat, and I got to get a line going for draft night somewhere where it shows the draft.
Yeah,
hats.
I've been talking to you off camera about the background, thinking maybe, change it up a little bit, like take some of this memorabilia off, add some other memorabilia that's not showcased on camera, whatnot. Kind of change it up a little bit, add something to it, maybe some draft like atmosphere back here, change it up a little bit.
Right, I agree. I mean, we got 2 new additions to the background. You can't see because our heads are in the way.
Let me actually.
That's a Ben.
Can you see that?
No, there you go.
How's that?
It's got the car and the Ben card. Now the one up here, if I can grab it without spraining my back, because I'm old.
Don't do that. Ain't that old.
It's like a Ben rookie card, bro. Got that last week. It's kind of hard to see because 1, our heads are in the way, and 2, there's a little bit of a glare. But
Yeah, but nice little throwback there. You had the old card and car collection that I don't know if they do nowadays.
well, dude, it's crazy because I'm gonna read the. I don't know if you guys can see the back. You can't read that, but it's Fleer, and it says available teams included. It's like the collection thing they used to do. Do they still do those nowadays?
Probably not.
Eli Manning, New York Giants. Larry Fitzgerald, Arizona Cardinals. Drew Henson, Dallas Cowboys. Ben Roethlisberger, Pittsburgh Steelers. Phillip Rivers, San Diego Chargers. And Kellen Winslow Jr., Cleveland Browns.
Oh, what happened to him?
That's something that the Browns and Deshaun Watson have in common.
Oh, okay.
It's not. I mean, I guess being Ben guys, we can't say that either. But at least they were convicted. Unfortunately for the victims.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Browns missed on Ben.
Browns did miss on Ben. Yeah,
Sorry.
big time. Yeah, the Ohio kid, and he ended up owning them.
Still does.
Still does. Before we get on out of here, what we're gonna do, guys, is we're going to do a fan mock draft for you guys. And we're gonna do one today. We're gonna do one tomorrow, and we're gonna do one Wednesday, just to kind of make it interesting. So we're going to do a fan mock draft for you live folks in here, which we appreciate you guys for joining us, man. Shout out to you guys in the chat. Appreciate you guys for joining us on this Monday afternoon. Appreciate you guys getting the likes up. If you guys are new, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. For all draft content throughout the rest of draft week, man, we're just getting started over here. We're going to do a live fan mock draft. Let me get the split screen here. Now, we will be using PFF because I just feel like using PFF, and we got a membership here. So we're going to pick the Steelers and we're going to do 7 rounds. Not going to change the settings by any chance. We're going to enter,
Default settings.
and we are going to. Should we start or should we do a trade back?
Well, this is the fan mock draft here, so
Should I start now, or should I trade back first, or should I start and then do trade back? Should I just start, or should I do any trade first? I guess I would just start it, right? Because I don't know if a team. Listen, this is the fans, man. This is the fan. I don't know if they want to trade up or they want to trade back.
Summer says see what falls to 21 first and trade back. Start now.
Okay, start. We're gonna start. Let's see. Walter Nolan's on the board. Malachi Stark, Luther Burden, Colson Loveland, who's getting a lot of first round talk. Josh Simmons, Mika Egbuka. I mean, you got all these names here. All these names. Trey Amos, who they brought in for a top 30 visit.
Is a certain quarterback on the board?
No, he's not.
Are you sure?
I don't think. No, he was taken to the Giants at 3.
Okay. All right.
Keeping this interesting. The Saints took Jade Barron. Poor guy. Let's look at trade. We only got one trade offer, and that's the Saints.
What?
All right, guys, we need your fan input. Or should I just refresh this? Should I refresh this, or should we just force a trade here? Harmon, Grant, Nolan, are they there? Let's see, defensive line. Well, Kenneth Grant went to the Bucks. So we got Nolan, we got Tyreek Williams, and Derek Harmon. I don't know why Derek Harmon is ranked so low here.
Yeah, that I don't agree with PFF's ranking there. Some of their rankings I feel like is a little wrong. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, I can force a trade. So if you guys want to, like force a trade, like say we trade back with the Texans or the Lions or the Bills or the Chiefs or even the Eagles, we can do that. It's up to your guys' opinion. This is your guys' mock. You know, we're doing one of these every day up until draft night. So today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, just to make it interesting and see where we fall. Jay saying Chiefs or Bills. See if you can get 28 and 60 from the Lions. Son of Steel says Bills. Let's see. The Lions are closer. The Lions are closer. Let me see.
Would they even be interested?
No. But I could always force it. I could cheat. We could cheat because we can do that here.
When you have a membership, yeah, that's allowed.
Call us Tom Brady. We can cheat and get away with it and still win. I mean, maybe he didn't get away with it. He got suspended 4 games, but he got away with it. He got away with it.
I mean, 4 games for cheating?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. 4 games for deflating footballs. That was a time. That was a time. Maybe throw them next year's 4th or something to make it more realistic. Okay. Where are we at? 4th. That didn't work. 3. That didn't work. 2. That didn't work. They're not interested at all. They want to stay put. They
You
want
can
to.
still make it realistic, though. They may not be interested, but it's realistic.
All right, what we doing, chat? We gonna? All right, I see Dan saying take Harmon. James says force a trade. Sommer says maybe throw in a 4th for the Lions. Jay says Bills have 2 picks in the 2nd round. They do. They have 56 and 62, I think. Phil says Nolan. Walter Nolan is there. He is there. The
The weird thing is, no, they have not shown any interest in Nolan.
No, they haven't.
They've shown interest in Pegues. They brought him in for a top 30 visit. We'll get into that tomorrow, but no, not Nolan.
But I will mention Andy Waddle was at his pro day.
He was.
He was at his pro day, and they did bring in Pegues for a top 30 visit. So obviously they're doing they know about Nolan.
How can you not know about Nolan?
Yeah. Down for a trade down or Hampton. Or Harmon, I'm sorry. I think we can get Harmon with a trade down option just to make this very interesting. Let's do the Bills.
Yeah, let's try the Bills.
Let's see if they are interested at all. They're not. None of these teams are interested. None of these teams.
That's the case when it comes to PFF. As long as there's no trade interest on the trade indicator, then you really can't make a trade.
All right, well, you know what? We're going to force a trade here. We're going to go Lions because they're closer. We're going to force a trade. Resume. Nolan is off the board. He's taken by the Packers.
I can see that.
But we still have Marion Hampton, Trey Amos, We got, where's he at? Derek Harmon is here.
Yeah, he's still down there.
All right, Chad, what we thinking? I think those are the 3 top options just based on their top 30 visits. Hampton, Amos, or Derek Harmon. Jayden Higgins, but, I mean, are we really going to go receiver here?
I don't think that's the case. I don't think they do that.
People saying Harmon. Isn't the role the best player? I mean, yeah. You're not wrong, Phil.
That would be best player is Luther Burden.
Well, at the time, best player was
At the time, yeah.
what's his name? Walter Nolan. So Phil's not wrong. I'm going with the popular vote.
And many people in the chat are saying Harmon.
That's what I'm saying. So we're gonna go Harmon here.
Derek Harmon.
Despite PFF's record, we're gonna go Harmon. Oh my goodness. We got some options, folks. We got some options. At pick 60, I love Benjamin Morrison. I think he'd be picked a lot earlier if he didn't get hurt. Love Kevin Winston. The same thing can be said about him. Dylan Sampson they brought in. Treveyon Henderson, my favorite back.
He's
they
right
brought
there,
in.
dude. He's right there.
Kyle Williams is mad underrated. So is Trey Harris. There's a Tate Radledge if you want to go with the trenches. What about Andrew Makuba? You notice, man, they've looked at safety heavily. We'll discuss it tomorrow, but they've looked at a lot of safety.
Well, I'll tell you right now in the chat. Somber says Henderson is there. You know Tomlin is running to that podium.
That's fair. We're going to go Henderson.
Yeah, Henderson.
That's what everyone's saying. We're going to go Henderson. Treveyon.
Can't miss out on that back.
All right, I'm loving this already. Oh, my God. He's there in the 3rd. Listen, I'm a big Kevin Winston guy.
Honestly, what do the Steelers have in mind at safety for the future, huh?
I don't know. But I'm a big Kevin Winston guy. But you can go receiver. Jalen Royals is a yak monster. Makuba's there.
He's a dog.
He is. Him and Barron kept that
There's
secondary.
some solid safeties day too.
Kyle Williams, Trey Harris. Man, some of these options are still here at 83. Damn, what we doing, chat? What we doing? What we doing? Jay says Makuba is the dog, but Henderson is the pick. Well, Makuba's still there, man. If you want a full-blown, like, Minka replacement, Makuba's your guy. Makuba is your guy. He has tackling issues, but, I mean, he's a free safety. He plays deep. He can work in the slot.
Phil says, what quarterbacks are available?
Good question. Well, hard. But can we get him in the 4th? That's a little risky.
Do we want to take that bet? I take that bet. That's just me, though.
Will Howard's there. Riley Leonard, I'm not a big fan of, but Tyler Shuck.
Why did I have Leonard ranked? I don't think Leonard's ranked that highly. Not in my opinion.
I think based off of what he did for Notre Dame, he's going to be ranked that
off
high.
the grades, maybe, but.
What about tackle? Let's see. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, bro. Jonah Savinea from Arizona. Wyatt.
Saviness.
Who?
I don't know.
Wyatt Millam from West Virginia. Cameron Williams, who had a very, very rough playoff run. Charles Grant, based off of the William and Mary Tomlin connection. Who are the corners? Okay, let's look.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
I like that. I like that. Dorian Strong, Jacob Parrish, I really like.
Yes, I think Parrish is worth the 3rd. In my
He
opinion.
is. In my opinion, he is too. Kobe Bryant's mad underrated, but maybe we can get him in the 4th. There's Justin Wally. Maybe we get him in the 4th. I don't know.
What are we thinking, guys? What are we thinking? Corner, tackle?
Options all over the place. Options all over the place, man. Leave it up to you guys.
Summer says Wally in the 4th if we go quarterback.
That's what I'm thinking.
Is the wide receiver from Iowa State available? You talking about Noel, Phil? Jaylin Noel?
Jaylin Noel is there.
Oh, my God.
Jaylin Noel is there.
All right. Hold on
I
now.
like Noel a lot.
Hold on now. Wait a minute.
Jaylin Noel is indeed there. I mean, if you're looking for a more predominant outside guy, you got Kyle Williams, you got Trey Harris.
Oof.
I know, man. It's tough.
I think.
What do y'all
listen,
do?
I think Noel can play outside. I think he's capable.
I think he can too. I see like a faster Lockett. I'm being real with you.
Yeah.
We took Noel in the 3rd round in our mock,
Yep.
or the one we uploaded earlier.
Phil says pick Noel. Some people are saying they like Noel. Noel could be the pick.
Okay, well, listen, it's whatever the chat says the most.
Yep.
Howard, Noel, or Millum, in my opinion. Noel, Makuba, or Millum. Okay.
We got some Millum talks here.
I do like Millum. I really do. I just don't know if realistically they go tackle. I wouldn't hate it. He's more of a predominant left than Broderick is. I know a lot of people are saying no. I see a lot of people saying no.
I mean, what is the future at wide receiver?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
And if we're talking Steelers interest, Noel is probably the one that will probably get the most.
Top 30 visit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Waddle went to the Ole Miss Pro Day for Trey Harris. But, man, they looked at both Ohio State cats. So I think the chat's saying no. We're going to take Jaylin Noel at 83. Now, this will be very interesting here in the 4th. We can go corner, quarterback. Kyle Williams is still there. Really?
Well, we already took wide receiver. No, I'm not going to say no to adding
Well,
two.
Will Howard's off the board. He went to the Jets at 110.
You sons of bitches. Sorry.
Swear jar. Okay. Well, Jamari Caldwell went to the Dolphins at 116. So did Kobe Hamilton at 115. Quarterback, you got these options here. Leonard, Shuck, Gabriel, Ewers, McCord.
Jay says the tackle from Kansas will be there in the 5th. Yeah, Logan Brown.
Logan Brown. I love Logan Brown. So if you want to wait till the 5th to go tackle, Logan Brown should be there.
I think he could be there, yeah.
I hope so. All right, well, let's look at what we were looking at. Corner.
We can take a look there. Hey, and Noel Williams.
Noel Williams I like. There's just not enough interest from the Steelers. Justin Wally.
Justin Wally, yep, top 30
Tons
visit.
of starting experience. Tons of starting experience. Ball hawking ability.
Good grades. Good size.
For sure.
Good speed.
What are we thinking, chat?
What are we thinking?
My son is still saying tackle Williams. Kyle Williams? We already went receiver.
What do you mean, Noel
Oh,
Williams?
Noel Williams from corner.
I don't know. Phil and Sommer said Shug.
Shook, yeah.
Shook.
Yeah, are we? Yeah, we are in round 4. You guys are saying Shook because I don't think he'll be there at 156. Okay, I mean, if they want to go quarterback, I mean, he's there. It's up to you guys. What other quarterbacks would we take if we don't take one here? The only one I can think of is McCord, based off of the top 30 visits. That's it. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know who. And how farther back do they push, quarterback? How farther back do they put it on the back burner? 5th round at the latest, I would think. But I don't know if they take one I don't know if they take one in the 5th. I think one goes right before that, maybe earlier. I mean, I don't know what ADP means. Average pick, something? I don't know what that means. But it's 171, so maybe he does fall. Very much like Kyle Williams here. Like he's ranked 63, but he's still here at 123, and he's projected around 109. These guys, it's just PFF's weird ranking. It's a default ranking. But we can go Logan Brown if he, I don't know if he'll be there. He could. Shuck hates contact, 30% throwaway rate. I didn't know that.
No, that's new to me too. Huh.
I think he hates contact because he's afraid to get hit and get hurt again. I think that's his biggest issue.
He's been through a lot.
He's like Bush. I don't want to get hurt again. I won't touch you.
Well, at least Shook don't have to tackle.
No, well, if he throws an interception, he might. Quarterbacks play. Hey,
you don't have to tackle consistently. How about that?
I don't know. How often is he going to throw an interception?
Man, I don't think he's Nathan Peterman over here. All right. Or Jameis Winston.
All right, chat. There's your tackles. There's your quarterbacks. There's your corners. And what else were we looking at?
What's the defensive line like?
There we go. Defensive line. Ty Robinson.
JJ
JJ Pegues. But could they both fall based on their rankings? I don't think Pegues would fall any farther.
No,
Ty
I don't-
Robinson, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think Pegues would fall any farther if you want to go Pegues.
Sauber says take Wally and see what quarterbacks are there for the next pick.
Okay. Chat, do you agree? Do you guys have any other potential picks you guys want to go after? Caleb Rogers?
Caleb Rogers. What are we thinking, chat?
Again, there's your corners. There's your tackles. What was I looking at? Defensive line, quarterbacks. Cam Jackson is a mountain. I will give you that. Again, you guys want to double dip at D-line, I highly encourage that. He is indeed a mountain. Pure nose. Could we get him later, though? Are we looking at a nose or a 3-5? We're looking at a nose. Because I think Harmon would play the 3. So if you want to go Jackson later, we could if we're looking for a nose. Yeah, they do like Hunt, too. You're right. Yeah, Jared Harrison Hunt. They brought him for a top 30 visit. 4 trades? Oh, yeah. You're right. We didn't even look at the trades. So we would trade back with the Bills. 132. We wouldn't trade back too far. 9 picks down. We can get some capital back if we want to secure any other positions, potentially. See, this is hard because, I mean, we have so many positions we want to address and so many key guys here. Up to the chat. This is the chat's draft. What about interior offensive line? See, Willie Lampkin is interesting. I'm not saying we should take him, but so undersized, but incredible technique for his position. He's what, 5'11"? I feel like if Aaron Brewer can play in the league, so can Willie Lampkin.
Yeah.
Are there any safeties left? Good idea. RJ Meekins, I do like him a lot. Could he last, though? Could he last a little later? Jalen Reed's another solid one. He's a little inconsistent, but he's solid. Jordan Hancock's a pure slot guy we could get later. Scott's saying trade back. All right, let's talk to the Bills. Okay, 132, 169. They got a ton of comp picks. 170. Oh, they don't want it.
We already traded back with the Bills, so.
So what the hell do you want? No, we trade back with the Lions.
Did we?
Yes.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. We're not trading down 9 spots just to get a. No. No, you're going to give us extra picks. And I don't think we're going to trade down too far, are we? Matt Carr will be there. I know he was at dinner with Miro. He was. I like Malachi Moore a lot, too. You know what? We might have to force something, guys. All right, how about that? Is that too much, or should I entertain that? Should I force that? It's up to you guys. I'm just throwing out the idea. Guards? Okay, we'll look at guards. I think I saw Miles Frazier over there from LSU. Yep, he's there. Dylan Fairchild from Georgia. Seth McLaughlin, he's more of a center. I think we already have a backup center, and what's his name?
Yeah, what's the cat's name? I can't remember his name.
I blanked. What's
he
his
filled
name?
in. He actually did a good job filling in. What's his name? I'm having a brain fart right now. Wow. What's the dude's name?
Ryan McCollum.
That's who, yeah.
Ryan McCollum.
Yeah, solid backup.
Took me a second. Just take one other pick. 1 for 3 is a lot. Yeah, but I can force it, bro. I'm kidding. All right, let's stay at 132 and 169. Should we force that? Should we trade? First of all, let me make the pick so I can. Frazier can play tackle and guard. I think they already have that in Spencer Anderson, though. I'm not saying it would make the Frazier pick redundant, but they would. I think they already got that confidence piece in Spencer Anderson. All right, maybe we trade back in the 4th to get more capital. I mean, there's a ton of talent. It's hard to kind of turn away from. But you also look at where they're mocked, where they're ranked. It seems like, they could be there. So let's for fun purposes. Again, we're going to be doing more of these the next couple of days. So let's do that. Trade back in the 4th round. Resume. Let's see. Noel Williams, Mello Dotson, Torrey Horton, Jalen Rivers, Jack Kaiser, Ahmed Hazanan. Is that how you say his name? JJ Pegues went to the Ravens. Of course you did. Jayon Blue went to the Lions. That's filthy. And Treveyon Jones went to the Saints. So all the other picks we were looking at, like Robinson, like Frazier, like Jackson, like Shook, like Wally, they're all there, and we still get another 6 back. Now, what do we do, folks? Literally, everyone that we were looking at is still there. Virtually everybody. Let's show our draft picks. Okay, Derek Harmon, Treveyon Henderson, and Jaylin Noel. I'm over mock drafts at this point. We need Thursday to get here already. I feel you, bro. I hear you. Come Thursday, throw all mock drafts off the board. Throw them all in the trash.
Jay says double dip at D-tackle and grab a nose.
Okay. So are you suggesting we take Jackson from Florida? Or Ty Robinson? I love Ty Robinson. I see a lot of keys on him. He's not as big as Jackson, but I mean, I do see, somebody that could challenge Lee and Loudermilk and Leal. I think we need that. Because Justin Wally is there, top corner on the board. Top 30 visits suggests the interest is there.
Could go corner, yeah.
Let's see, we got 156. You got to think, could some of these guys fall too?
Yeah, I don't know, because Wally's the top corner on the board. They brought him in for top 30 visit. They could use some more outside depth. You know what I mean?
For what?
Corner.
Oh, sure. No, do you see that, though, in another brain fart? The guy that brought him from the Jets, Eccles.
Eccles?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the outside versatility. He could also start in the slot, too. He could be competition there.
That's fair. Scott says take Wally. Somber says Wally or nose tackle. Phil says Robinson. We got some difference here.
Unless they want to rely on James Pierre again. No, thank you.
He's fast. We are speeding up the defense. Robinson is very quick off the line. Very intense off the line.
A lot of burst. Hell of a motor. Good strength.
But again, could he be there later on? Maybe at 156. You know what? Here's my suggestion, and it's up to y'all to agree. Let's go Wally here and then go after Robinson later. We still gotta go quarterback.
Well, waiting on quarterback, right, huh?
But hold on, now listen, we got 169. So maybe we take one then. Robinson, yeah, he's more so of a 3-tech. Yeah, he's not big enough to play nose. No, he's not. But I mean, that's not going to deter me away from taking Ty Robinson. I mean, I'm just being real with you.
No.
He's got a very Cam Hayward frame. So, yeah, he's more of a 3-tech, yes. Pierre needs to bet taking to the Pierre and dropped off. Leonard or McCord can both carry a clipboard. I mean, that's exactly what they would do, yes. All right, what are we thinking, chat? Let's see. We still got Kyle Williams, J.K. I'm sorry, J.K. R.J. Meekins.
RJ. Sorry.
What?
Over the hedge. You don't remember that movie?
No, I remember the movie. I don't remember that scene,
The
bro.
bear over the raccoon. He took the food.
No.
What?
Bro,
Bro, that movie was fire.
I
as a
haven't
kid.
seen that in 20 years.
Dude, oh, come on.
I remember the movie. It's
I'd have to show you the clip.
a great movie, by the way. It's either Wally or Jackson for me. Okay.
Pick your poison.
That's offensive tackle. I want nose tackle. Where's the
DI.
DI? Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, he could also fall based on this. Oops, wrong thing.
Surrender jar coin flip? That's a great idea, Jay.
You know what? Yeah, we got coins literally right at our disposal.
Okay, you can't see it. If I can, first of all, grab a coin. Gotta get a better coin dispenser. All right, here we go.
All right, so heads is Wally, and tails is Jackson.
All right.
Flip. Didn't flip. Didn't flip.
Yes, it did. That's tails.
It's tails.
That's
So-
Jackson.
We're going, Miss Jackson. I am for real. All right, let's see where we stand at. 156. All right.
I see
Riley Leonard's off the board.
I see Shook and Wally still on the board.
So do I.
So where did we go? Do we go Shook?
I'm going Wally.
You going Wally?
I'm going Wally. I think we go Wally here, guys.
Wally. You get that reference?
Can you stop with the Disney references?
I'm sorry. Wait. Over the Hedge wasn't Disney.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was. Wasn't it Pixar?
I don't remember.
Had to be.
Pardon the hell out of me, okay?
Yeah, I think we're gonna go Wally here, guys. Just based off of the interest in the chat, we're gonna go Justin Wally
Let's
here.
do it. Let's do it.
All right, now 169. Is Shuck still there?
He is.
Oh my God.
Listen, I think
We've pushed it back far enough. We should totally go after Quinn Ewers.
Huh?
I'm joking.
What?
I'm joking.
Ew.
And McCord is still there. So, Shuck or McCord. It's one of the two. I'm not even looking at Quinn Ewers. Ew.
Not a fan.
Yeah, see, PFF is weird. I think tomorrow we're going to use something different because these rankings are weird.
Maybe PFN, Pro Football Network.
Pro Football Network, or we'll use, what's another one? I forget.
Yeah, there's other simulators out there. I can't think off the
Well,
top
yeah,
of my
tomorrow
head.
we'll use Pro Football Network. But, yeah, these rankings are just a little off.
Odd.
Shuck will be eligible for Social Security in year 3.
Scott, wow, dude.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Shook will be there, but I think McCord will. So realistically, we could take McCord. But who do you guys prefer?
Listen, even if Shook was there, I could see the Steelers looking toward McCord's direction more so.
I don't know if I agree with that. Because I think Shook has more mobility. McCord has virtually no mobility. He is so unathletic.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they just prefer his arm talent more.
Maybe. He's got a little Brock Purdy vibe to him, don't he?
And people consider his mentality. I'm talking about his mentality here to be Baker Mayfield like.
Yeah. He's
Not saying he is Baker,
he's not going to reach any heights of Baker
but
or Purdy.
His
but-
mentality is very Baker Mayfield reminiscent.
Yeah. Well, I was watching his quarterback room with Gruden. I was watching him. I still got to watch Will Harrods too, but the way he was reading the defense, or the way he was rallying his team, or how he judged the team based off what they did prior to the game, even from his Ohio State days, he has a good reading of the field, good reading when he's, lined up. He's got a good head on him.
Yeah.
Got a good head on his shoulders. So what are you guys thinking? They compared him to Phillip Rivers at the Combine? You talking about Shuck, or you talking about McCord? I don't see Phillip Rivers in any of these guys.
No.
Everyone's saying Shuck.
Yeah, we taking
Everybody's saying Shook.
defensive line, running back, wide receiver, defensive line again, and cornerback.
So, Jay, to recap, we have taken a defensive lineman, running back, receiver, two defensive linemen, and a corner. So, still have to go quarterback. Let's see. Maybe, what else? Tackle, maybe.
Yeah, for depth
Maybe
purposes.
safety. Now, everyone's saying Shook, so we're going to go Tyler Shook. I'll be real with you guys. I'm enjoying this. I very much like this. 2 trade backs, which you can't rule out because Omar Khan loves to, gain more capital. He likes to trade up or trade back. So we got Derek Harmon, Treveyon Henderson, Jaylin Noel. I think those are 3 home run selections. Then you get a big body at nose. You get a good corner with versatility and a ton of starting experience, some speed there. And you get a good backup quarterback. Now here we are at 185. Shuck, his moxie. Oh, from Daniel Jeremiah. Okay. That's your Daniel Jeremiah's comp. Okay. I just kind of hard to see. Get the best offensive lineman available?
Yeah,
Okay.
tackle / guard.
Well, Miles
maybe.
Sanders is still there, dude.
You said Miles Sanders?
Miles Sanders. God. Wrong Miles. God.
Miles
Miles Frazier.
Frazier.
Excuse me. Yeah, like you guys mentioned, he's versatile all over. He can play any position but center.
He's got flexibility. Maybe they want to add an extra versatile body to that line.
Big frame.
Anderson can't do it all, right?
No, he can't.
He can't do it all. He's the only guy we got there.
Well, God forbid he gets injured.
Not gonna
God forbid he gets injured.
Yeah.
And they sent a couple scouts to LSU Pro Day, man. They're keeping their eyes open for LSU guys. I mean, clearly, because, they got Will Campbell coming out. They're going to look at some of the top people. They're not going to be able to draft them, but they're still going to keep them within their due diligence.
Yep.
So they're looking at a ton of talent.
It's rare for them to draft LSU talent.
I'll be real with you. I think the last time we drafted an LSU guy wasn't it Jalen Hawkins? What was his name? A tackle from
Gerald Hawkins.
Gerald Hawkins.
4th
yes.
round out of LSU. I can't remember what draft class. I can't remember to tell you.
2015? 16.
Oh my God.
That was the last time we drafted anyone out of LSU was Gerald Hawkins, who was a tackle.
And I don't think you could stay healthy.
No, he didn't pan out at all.
No.
Some of y'all might not even know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, they're probably like, who? Yeah, I know.
All right, what's the chat saying? I do.
Frazier's decent depth. Is RJ Mickens still there?
Yes, he is. He's the top guy on the board, best player available. I love RJ Meekins. I say Meekins. Love him.
Mickens.
Love his versatility. Really like him a lot. They don't draft Clemson guys often. Again, I think the last time they drafted a Clemson cat was Martavis Bryant. 10 years ago? 11 years ago?
And that long?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Bryant was part of the 2014 class. A 2014 class that included Ryan Shazier and Stephon Tuitt. What a class. Man, they both had their careers cut so short.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
God, man.
Yeah, they were dogs. Great players. Jay says Frazier or Mickens to me.
What's the most popular vote? Whoever name pops up more in the chat is going to be the pick.
Have a mix.
Yeah, they sent the director of scouting, Mark Sadowski, to the LSU Pro Day, according to Steelers Depot. They got tons of talent coming out of that school. Tons of talent.
Yep.
Emory Jones, Will Campbell, Mason Taylor, Zy Alexander, Miles Frazier. Ton of talent out of there.
Is Thornton gone?
Dante Thornton.
Do we double dip a receiver?
He's there.
He's there, but do we double dip a receiver? I don't think we do.
I don't know. I don't want to rule it out, but if you want to go receiver later, I see a particular cat from Colorado that I really like.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
In fact, I see 4 guys later on I really like, and they're on the same order. At 5, actually. Make that 6.
If you want to wait on receiver, we could do that, guys.
I see 6 guys I really like we could take at 229. Juice Wells, Jimmy Horn, Theo Weiss, Efton Chisholm, Ricky White, and Wester. I think Shepard's even solid, too. So if you want to wait, Dante Thornton's got unbelievable size and speed that you can't reject, but Up to the chat. 3 safeties there, Meekins. Frazier and Meekins. Okay, everyone's saying Meekins.
Yeah, safety depth.
Fairchild, Malachi Moore, last 2 picks. Unless Jimmy Horn is still there, then skip on the guard. Is Malachi Moore still there? Oh, he's there later on. Maybe he could last. Oh, we have a trade back scenario if we wanted to. What are you going to trade? What are you going to trade that we won't have next year? Again, same thing, Titans. And we're not trading that. Okay. Yeah, okay. Ignore all that. Ignore all that. Ignore all that. The undrafted safety free agent class this year is going to be solid. It's going to be real solid. Yeah, I agree. Tons of talent that are going to be claimed. I'm looking at. I love the idea of going O-line, especially the versatility there. But I really like Meekins because I think we need more safety depth. I like Juan Thornhill, but he's only here for a year. Like we need someone that's going to, be here for the next couple years. Take Thorne and make small defensive backs pay the price.
Hey, listen, Scott, I'm all for that.
I don't know, man. See, I like the fact that all you guys are putting different names here. No interest in Meekins. Great player though. Yeah, you're right. I don't know if they sent anyone to the Clemson Pro Day, and there's not too much coming out of Clemson this year.
No, not really.
Clemson really isn't the greatest school to go to nowadays. I just don't think they're as highly recruited as they used to be.
Not since the days of Watson and Lawrence.
Yep.
At least not in my opinion.
I'm trying to see if they sent anyone to the Clemson Pro Day. Actually, matter of fact, yeah, they sent everyone to the fucking Pro Day. They sent Mike Tomlin, Arthur Smith, Terrell Austin, and Zach Crockett to the Pro Day. So yeah, and they took out Phil Maffa, running back, and Peyton Page, defensive lineman, out for Pro Day dinner. So I guess there is interest there.
Maybe that's the pick.
I totally didn't know they sent everyone to the Clemson Pro Day. They don't have much going out there.
RJ, is RJ the pick?
I don't know, man. They sent the house to the Clemson Pro Day. That's new information to me. I must have passed through that in my notes. No top 30. Yeah, you're right. Well, who here can we take that they brought in for top 30 visits? So same thing could apply for anything here. At least they sent the house to the Georgia Pro Day. Is Tesla? Is that how you say his name? Gone? Good blocker and huge. Isaac Tesla from what's his name? He's not there. Where was he taken? See if I can scroll up. No, I was thinking about the Panthers at 163. He's thinking of 163. 2 more picks left. We can go anywhere. Love the idea of line. Love the idea of safety.
Thornton would be the one as far as interest.
Yeah, I would think so. But we already went receiver. I mean, yeah, no smaller, but we already went receiver. But we have more picks that we could do it.
Add another weapon, an outside depth body.
Who's there at tackle? John Williams, maybe. Jack Nelson has some versatility to him. Love Holland Pierce.
Yep.
There's some capable options.
All right. I'm seeing more towards Thornton and Chad.
Really?
A little bit.
All right, Chad. I need one name you guys would go with right now. One name, and whatever name pops up the most, I will take. Chad, what's going on, bro? How you doing in the chat, man? Appreciate you for tuning in.
We good, chat. We good.
Update on the poll, by the way. 48% say that running back should be the first offensive position in the Steelers draft.
Well, Phil says Mickens is ranked 108, best player available.
Yeah, that's incredible value. Down at 185. Jay says Frazier.
kind of low undecided right here. Like a little in between. A little mixed. Do we need to do another coin flip?
Huh, I think we do, Rob.
Here, let me get one out. All right, so what do we want to do? Heads, Frazier, tails, Mickens?
Yes.
All right. All right, going to flip. Heads.
So we're going Meekins. RJ Meekins?
No, tails was Mickens.
Oh, who was heads?
Frazier.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we're going to go Frazier. Just based off the coin flip.
Based off the coin flip. The coin flip won.
Okay, we're going to go Frazier. And 229, our final pick. I think it's got to go safety. Oh, my God.
All right. All right. Take him.
PFF, man, they got something wrong with their system.
Take 'em.
Yeah, we're going to go. Okay.
Without hesitation.
Would y'all agree? Would y'all agree?
Without hesitation, dude.
Would y'all agree? Trade? Trade what?
I don't know.
Hold on, we might be able to get two here. Trade back 2 spots. Why would they want to?
I don't know, dude.
Realistically, Mickens is a 4th round guy. Yeah, well, realistically, PFF has it wrong, but we can get a steal here. Malachi Moore is there.
No, I'm telling you, if Mickens falls to 7, that's like Cameron Curl all over again.
Well, you mean for the Commanders?
Well, he's not a Ram, but yes, as far as like value and comparison goes.
Yeah. If Mickens is there in the 7th, you should go to prison if you don't take him. I think we have to. We're going to go Mickens. How do you not? Come on, man. Come on. Well, that's the mock, guys. Let it load up. Grade. Okay. They gave us an F for Justin Wally.
What?
They gave us an F for Justin.
Yeah.
That's because of your stupid rankings.
Yeah, I don't.
Don't
agree
blame
with that.
us. Blame you. You guys don't know how to do your shit properly.
Swear jar.
We got to save some for draft night. There's going to be some players I really want that aren't going to be there.
So stop cussing. No, we good.
I got to give a round of applause to the chat. This is all you guys, based off your opinions, based off the popular vote.
Gorgeous.
We trade back with the Lions, 7 picks, and get 28 and 60. Still get Derek Harmon with a trade back. That's my preferred method at the end of the day for Thursday. That'd be home run.
Yo, scroll down a little bit. It's not even showing the Mickens pick.
Treveyon Henderson. It's got Jaylin Noel. Hold on, let me. There we go. There we go. Now you guys can see it all. Jaylin Noel at 83. We trade back from 123 and get 132 and 169. Camrod Jackson, big body at nose for depth purposes. Great run defender. Justin Wally for extra bodies in the secondary. Tons of starting experience. Absolute baller. Backup quarterback Tyler Shuck to compete with Mason. Miles Frazier to compete with some of the younger guys and just be the extra swing guy for anywhere you want to put him on the line. And RJ Meekins with the steal of the draft at 229 in the 7th, man. Love that. You guys did absolutely phenomenal. I'd be blessed if this were to be.
I'd be very satisfied with this type of draft class right here.
Now, some of this is pretty unrealistic. I don't think RJ Meekins falls to 7th. I don't think Tyler Shook falls to the 5th. Just putting it out there. But you know what? That's what PFF gave us, and we had to take advantage.
I'll tell you what. Tomorrow, we will do another mock draft with the chat here, the chat's choice, and we will use a different mock draft simulator. I think we're going to use Pro Football Network.
Hopefully, it's a little more realistic. Let's be a little more realistic here.
Try to mix things up a little bit. Try to make it more fun, more exciting, and just see if we can try to knock this mock out the park.
And then what?
The park.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, pardon the hell out of me.
I see what you're trying to do there. Props to you. Yeah, we're gonna do that tomorrow, and then based on how that goes, we'll see which one we get to use on Wednesday. Maybe we use an entirely different one for Wednesday night. But Tomorrow we'll discuss the defensive side of the football, the defensive linemen, the safeties, the corners, all the defensive players that the Steelers have looked at and where they could aim for those positions in the draft.
Indeed.
So today was offense, tomorrow will be defense, and then Wednesday will be live Wednesday night discussing all of the first round potential picks for the Steelers because they brought in a ton, and there's some that you should potentially think about that shouldn't be ruled out whatsoever for the first round for the Steelers.
And we're going to get into the defensive discussions tomorrow, all about that. So I look very forward to that tomorrow. You know, draft week is just getting started, guys.
Draft week is just getting started. We were live today, obviously, live now. Tomorrow we'll be live. Wednesday we'll be live. Thursday we'll be live. Friday we'll be live. Saturday we'll be live. It'll be a full 6 days, full week of live draft content, all surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers and what they could do and what they will do and what they have done for the draft. It's going to be exciting. I cannot wait. It's my favorite time of probably the entire year is the draft week because it's all just, you know, thinking what they could do, what they might do, the players they could bring in. It's all hypothetical, yes, but then you see what happens in reality and who they bring in. It's a fun time.
It is.
It's a fun time, and can't wait to share it along with you guys. So we appreciate you guys for joining us on this live stream today. We'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place, different subject, different position, different side of the football. So we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Otherwise, we're going to call it a stream. We're going to get on out of here. Thanks to all you guys for tuned in on this afternoon live stream. Joined us discussing the offensive side of the football. Tomorrow, we'll see you guys for the defensive side. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your night. And we'll see you tomorrow and the rest of the week. Appreciate you guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe on your way out. And if you're new here, and see you in the next one. Here we go, Steelers.
And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!